Beautiful ground, a beautiful afternoon, and a must-win game for both clubs. They go at it. Clark, as usual, gets first hands on. Tyson Stenglein bounces it forward. Laddam's hands clean. Thumped into the deck by Robbins. To the outer side. Gilby pushing the back to Dimatina, and he'll take a free kick. Handball off to West. Pushed as he got the kick off. A high one. It should be marked, and is marked.
June Syracuse are picking up Simon Goodwin. Surely that matchup would have been preordained for the middle, Brian.
You would think so, Gerard. Woodcock marks on centre wing, and I also noticed that Mitch Hahn has got the dangerous Rashudo. And here it comes in that very direction now. Rashudo picks on the half volley, gives the handball off. McGregor shot to the top of the square. Goodwin got hands on the ball. Secondary effort was great. Turns around, left foot snap. Great start for the Adelaide Crows. Goodwin talked about him, Gerard, starting up forward and certainly giving them something early.
I reckon he's a star, Simon Goodwin. Everyone knows he's a talented player, as does Peter Road, obviously, but I don't think he would have expected Goodwin to be playing in the goal square, because I can't believe that June Syracuse would be the right matchup for him there. You just see him there. He's not a body player. Simon Goodwin, strong body. And June Syracuse could match him through the middle, but certainly not when the focus is on him in the goal square.
He's got his two best ball getters, two of his best ball getters, Gerard, Goodwin and Rashudo, both playing in the goal square.
That's all right, I reckon, early in the piece, just to sort out their defensive matchups.
First goal on the board to Adelaide. It came from Simon Goodwin again. First hands on from Clark. McLeod stripped of it. Dimatina busy. Got the handball away. Jordan McMahon. Gilby wheels around on the left. Goes out wide. Bowden just couldn't hang on. McGregor, who was involved just a moment ago, showed some composure. Got it to Bickley. Bickley to McLeod, who looks like he's up and running. Inside half forward, good kick. Finds Perry. Big pre-season. Left foot drop. Here are those two players. Rashudo, one of them. At the back, Stenglein missed it. Beautiful running to the drop. Just couldn't finish the job off. Michael Roberts, boundary side.
Yes, the Western Bulldogs are wearing black armbands because of Len McCankey, 78 years of age, died last week, played 143 games in the 40s and the 50s for the Dogs.
Stenglein with the job on this man, Scott West.
Scotty West, just foot pass there to Robert Murphy. What a youngster he is. On the rise, Crofton put the job on Perry today. You may think that Perry has got it in the foot race department there. Ball wide to Darcy. On the boundary line, looking to the lead of Garlick, who so often provides many forward thrusts for the Western Bulldogs. He signals for someone to come at him. Drives it long. Bowden the danger here. Harris at the back. Marked strongly.
Good work.
And Harris is marked 20 metres out, almost directly in front.
Brian, you would have worked with him in your role down to the Bulldogs. Tell us a bit about him.
He's a very, very good player up forward. He's come from Adelaide. Of course, this is his hometown here, and he has an area ability that I haven't seen out of any of the other Bulldog forwards for some time. He can jump. Watch when he gets a run at the ball. I know that was a genuine one-on-one contest. His kicking is a little bit iffy at this stage in his early development, and it's a thing that he's working hardest on in his game at the moment. Harris comes in. 20 metres out. Kick on the way. Good. First goal for the Bulldogs.
They make me feel better sometimes, because I look at my book of barcodes and sometimes when I'm feeling like adrift in the world and I don't really know my place or something's going wrong, I can look at the barcodes and I can think there's something that knows certainly what it's meant to do. It has one task and it gets that information across. It's really beautiful in a way. They're quite the most delightful things. They give me great comfort, I suppose, with their single mission in life.
So the Western Bulldogs through Harris with an answering goal. A little nerve settler for them. Don't want to allow the Adelaide Crows in front of their home crowd a big early lead. Back in the centre. Clark for the third time in a row. Gets it to McLeod. Streaming forward, the superstar. Looking for Goodwin and gets him.
Just too easy. You just can't give Andrew McLeod open passage like that. Clark's got the height on Luke Darcy. You reckon he's going to get hands on it. Just see the back of the square there. And it looked like Dimatina just got drawn into the contest. You can't allow that against someone of the calibre of Andrew McLeod.
Simon Goodwin, one goal already on the afternoon. Favoured by the side, given that he's a left footer. Just inside the 50. Kick on the way. Looks very, very good. They're up and running, the Adelaide Crows. Simon Goodwin's got two.
Well, you boys hit the nail on the head. You suggested that he might start at full forward, and it has been a very effective ploy early. it just tells you about the wealth, as you see here, the ruck contest. It's got to get a more fierce contest from Luke Darcy, and that is just great use. But when you've got the wealth of talent in the middle, like someone such as McLeod and Bickley, you can afford to play Rashudo and Goodwin out of the goal square, and it's working well. They need a physical jump at it here from Luke Darcy.
And Darcy's just told Dimartina to get on to McLeod. Don't be 4 or 5 metres away, get on, but he has to deliver as well and make contact with Clark and bring the ball to ground.
Goodwin, top 20 in the hard ball gets in the competition. McLeod again, Jared. Breaks away. Kick inside forward 50 for the Crows. Gian Siracusa swoops. Had Robbins in support. Smith over the top. Can provide plenty of run. Dimartina, the linking player. Back to Smith. Dogs out of trouble momentarily. Good run, penetrating run here by Smith. Delivery forward, important. McGregor in amongst it. John Cock went without it. Pick up handball burst. Johnson, Garlic. Right foot snap, Bowden is marked. He'll play on. Right foot banana, splattered across the face.
Didn't think it through.
That was amazing, that bit of play. They looked at each other. There were 3 Western Bulldogs around. Bowden didn't know whether to play on or go back. He just should have... He confused himself in the end.
Almost the crowd reaction that caught them off guard.
I thought it was a free kick or something.
Adelaide Crows long to the outer side. Laddams has done some hard running. Takes an uncontested mark. He's got Perry further afield. The kick's good. The hands are good. And Perry's off and running. Left foots it inside the forward 50. Here comes Rashudo. Has it knocked away from him. Good work from Gian Siracusa, and now Hahn's got to work hard. Brings it around the body, but the kick's astray. And Mark Bickley, the veteran, breaks it up. Handball off to Laddams. Inside the 50 again. Lots of forward 50 entries. Rashudo could have been interfered with. No free kick, and the Bulldog defence through Rowan Smith get the run going. Gilby has a bounce. Sets himself a little bit of a task, but then straightens it up. Brad Johnson overruns the footy. John Cock with him, got a couple to beat. In the end, coughed it up a little easy. Harris, handball inboard. Gian Siracusa normally uses it well, not on that occasion. And in the end, it's Begley who can break it up. Good tackle. Johnson put on a really good tackle, but the number's still with Adelaide. And the ball to the outer side, across the line boundary throw-in.
On this ground, more than any other in the competition, I think the one-on-one contest is so critical. You're going to have more one-on-one contests than you've ever had before, and this is a shocking miss from Patrick Bowden. He had to just realise the importance of that kick.
Clark.
Matthew Clark has really dominated early proceedings, and I see that Darcy is running with him. He's got to get do more.
He's been their preferred ruckman this year, no doubt about that. Kick forward in preference to Biglands. Laddams hovering over the top of Power. Edwards, always dangerous wherever he plays. Beautiful foot pass. Is the only spot he could have put the ball, and Goodwin led to exactly the right spot.
And that's the point, Brian. You can't try and play Simon Goodwin shoulder to shoulder. He's not going to stand in the goal square and try and take big body marks. All he will do is lead hard at the footy. Robbins had to identify that that was the one spot that he could go to and stand that 10 metres in front of him rather than try and play shoulder to shoulder.
Goodwin lines up for goal number 3 of the game. Considering we've played 8 minutes, that would be a fine performance. And he comes on the left boot, wrong side for the left foot, and he's hit it to the near side. So just the minor score. The first blemish there for the Adelaide Crows.
The point I was trying to make about Clark and Darcy before was that Darcy has decided he's going to go with Clark, and Clark is running perhaps better than I've seen him run before, and he's dictating the terms here. Already the Bulldogs are on the back foot.
Lots of players inside the Bulldogs' defensive 50. Rowan Smith uncertain what to do. Got Gian Siracusa on short, finds him. Who would have thought, Gary, at the start of the year with Carey, Welsh and Stevens on the Adelaide Crows list that you'd see Rashudo and Goodwin on the full forward line. It's quite amazing.
Well, his strengths as a player would say that he could play full forward. There's no doubt about it, Simon Goodwin.
Darcy brings it to the front. Clark wrapped up in a Bulldog sandwich tackle. There'll be a bounce about 60 metres out.
Runner just out with Mark Rashudo, and he's giving him the signal onto the ball.
And Jared, I want your thoughts on the rotation system. We know that Clark tends to come off around the 15 or 20 minute mark. He has been pretty dominant. I'll get your thoughts if he does get come off for big ones.
Dengline comes over the back. The handball is astray from Dimartina. McLeod on the left foot, spots up Tyson Edwards. Very rarely wastes the disposal, Andrew McLeod, and again he was pinpoint with it.
Bulldogs would be much better suited if both Rashudo and Goodwin went on ball, because that's I think what the matchups that they've currently got were designed for.
Tyson Edwards.
Good coaching.
Very good coaching.
From Gary Ayres' point of view. Second guest, the Bulldog coaching panel.
They look like they're serious about their football this afternoon, the Adelaide Crows. Tyson Edwards, kick on the way. Hasn't got it spinning particularly well. Not going to make the distance. Almost thumped away by Perry. Got it back. Tawney touched on the line.
Goalkeeper.
Might have already had it through. Otherwise, you're right, Jared. It was a nice performance.
They're just on the rotations. I think preordained rotations, Gary, for ruckman, slightly different to bulk midfield rotations. But once again, if a bloke like Matthew Clark is absolutely dominating and the game is only minutes or goals away from being broken open, I think you can abandon your preordained blueprint and go with plan B.
Low kick there from Rowan Smith from fullback. Found Gilby, who's been contributing early. The kick not so good, although McMahon made it look better than it was.
Highest possession team in the competition, the Western Bulldogs. Now that is flirting with danger against a side that do put a lot of pressure on this Adelaide Crows.
Have tried to straighten up a little bit in the last couple of weeks, and that's an example of it, even though it wasn't successful.
Haven't seen it too often, but John Cook pushed his own man out of the way to get that.
See a bit of that here today. Perry short to Edwards on the wing. Beautiful chipping kick with great precision. Finds Begley. Begley in just his second game to Laddams. Left boot. Finds the intended target there. Gallagher plays on immediately. They go forward. McLeod in the mix. Handball back. Gallagher again. This time the smother. Robbins for the Bulldogs in the back pockets. Uncertain what to do with it. Smith likes to run. Giansiracusa has the ball for the Western Bulldogs. Centres it back up. Bowden. Very strong mark. I know you're a big rap for him, Jared, and he's played well over the last few weeks. Johnson marks. Quick hands and feet. Got it into Dimatina. He marks. Plays on. Shot on goal. Missed.
I tell you, they had the biggest overlap happening of all time, and to have the ball end up as a wide shot for goal is a disappointing result. That's a real disappointing result. Should have been inside 50, 20 metres out with blokes running free.
Begley, the handball off to Hart. Hart down the line again, uses the ball beautifully. Tawney dropped one he should have hung on to.
Well, they get the ball inside 50, I think, as much as anybody in the competition. In fact, statistically, they rate second. So the question's not whether they can provide enough scoring opportunities. It is making the most of them, and that's where they're falling down.
Clark really giving Darcy a toweling at the moment. Handball over the top from McMahon. Dimatina looked back to McMahon and now goes himself with the left foot. Not bad. Found its target in Burse. Around the body, here comes Brown in some space. And that's good football.
Well, it's a good response, Gary, by Paul Dimatina. He was stitched up early in the piece. He has now switched on to Mark Bickley. The change has been made. Murphy has gone on to McLeod. But he has responded. He could have kicked a goal with his last kick, but that one straight to Brown, an outstanding piece of play.
Now, this becomes a super important kick from Nathan Brown's point of view. If he was able to get on the board early, then we know that he'll have at least half a dozen shots at goal.
Yeah.
Kick 21 on the season so far. Got that one spinning to the right. Just didn't look like he ever got it onto the centre of the boot, Brian, and it's a behind.
Disappointing from Nathan Brown, just becoming a bigger monkey at the moment.
McLeod.
Good tackle. That's a free kick.
Applying the screws there. The loose ball. Darcy. Kick to Johnson, but deep and wide. Brad Johnson should provide some life across that half-forward line for the Dogs today.
Sorry, Brian. That is an advent of the type of players that played in this position, the small forwards. Because they do get on long leads and it's a big ground, the lead carries them a little bit wider than it normally would at another ground.
A lot of their shots early in this game, the Bulldogs coming from very wide. Kick across the face, looking for a bit of left to right bend about it. Just got a piece of the post in the end. But the Bulldogs 1-3-9, Adelaide 2-3-15.
Well, once again, it's been 5 minutes of sustained attacking by the Bulldogs. They've lifted. I reckon 5 minutes ago you would have been entitled to think, Gary, that they were going to get blown out of Adelaide. But they have just created some scoring opportunities. Got to get them over the line, though.
Ben Hart bangs it long to a contested ball on the outer side. Bickley and Johnson go at it. Bickley, nice little handball on the up to John Cox. Standing start kick. West has got to stand under this. Did so with courage. The fist came from Tyson Edwards. He's going to get it back. They are lining up. West did really well to provide a contest in all of that. But in the end, it was weight of numbers that worked for the Crows.
Well,
West, hasn't he worked hard? His kick let him down in the end, but gee, put in. He's still getting it. They have done a power of work back there, and that was power. His high ball. Bickley, unused to taking overhead marks, has a crack at it. Bowden on the up was good. This is Murphy. Left foot inside the forward 50. Just didn't carry to Brown, or did it? Brown wrapped up in a Ben Hart tackle holding the ball.
It's a poor decision, but Nathan Brown did the right thing by not trying to cough the footy up. You much rather...
Where was his opportunity to get rid of this?
It's a bad decision. Oh, he may have. Even so, you're better off giving a free kick, slowing the play up, than having the ball spilled through.
Ball wide. Loose player here is the most dangerous player playing in the game today. McLeod. Kick forward. Robbins just nicely nudged his man Goodwin under the ball. Good ball. Finds Smith again. In the corridor. Long raking handball to the run of Gian Siracusa, who's been popular early in this game. Through the hands of Burst. Murphy swoops. Kick to the leader, Brown again. He goes to ground, but he recovers brilliantly. Close on the boundary line. What will he do here? Gets back onto his familiar left foot. Kick has hit the post. That's the minor score. The Bulldogs are peppering. 1-4 they are.
Now, there's a bit of Russian roulette going on here. Andrew McLeod and Robert Murphy, they are all running forward at the moment, both sides. Probably Adelaide even a touch more because they won pretty easy possession early, and they're playing metres apart. And it's whoever wins a footy to turnover, the man's going to be free at the other end of the ground.
Bassett finds Hart. Half back on the outer side. Short he goes to Gallagher. Gallagher sees something he likes inboard. That's Chris Massey. Given the hair a little bit of a trim and got rid of the reasonably weird beard he was going with last year. Down the line. Knocked away from Perry. Tyson Edwards and Rowan Smith tangle up, ball across the line.
Ian Perry warming up on the boundary line. Biglands. What did I say? Perry? Biglands.
So that's reasonably comfortable reading for Bulldogs fans. They've got a good record over here. McLeod have got a good record everywhere.
Particularly in large games like grand finals.
The ruck hit out sit at Adelaide 6. The Western Bulldogs yet to get their hands on it at the moment, so it becomes important play here.
Boyd and Bruton warming up on the bench for the Bulldogs. The change is made, and Biglands will come forward to try and stretch the Bulldogs' defence. Something you've got to be careful of, because they've only got the one tall defender down there in Croft at the moment. Now Biglands has gone forward, and this will create an immediate problem for the Dogs.
Well, it's good coaching again, isn't it? Clark stays on, Biglands comes on, and now the big reshuffle's on in the back half for the Dogs.
Yep, Bickley gathers, put it out in front of McLeod. Pace. He'll run here, although Murphy just about wore him down. The kick is brilliant, and the move has paid dividends immediately. Biglands marks.
Crofty was a bit tuckered out because he had to run about 80 metres to get the matchups right, and then well, once you get McLeod on the burst like that, you can just almost guarantee a shot at goal.
Yeah, the issue isn't about trying to stop Biglands there.
No.
It's about the stop plays. They're getting slaughtered at the stop plays, the Crows, and if they're allowed to continue, they'll win handsomely.
Second in the competition, only to the Bulldogs, the Crows in that department, Jared. So we're seeing first and second on display here today. Poor kick there, but Bode's come on, another dangerous player for the Adelaide Crows, and he immediately goes forward. So Darcy, it will be in the back pocket. Kick the ball back into play. Adelaide have kicked 2-3-15. The Bulldogs 1-4-10. Been tough shots. They've been wide on all sorts of curious angles as Harrison, the former Tiger, moves the ball out of the fence. Beautiful mark. Massey just drifting across the face. Marks on centre wing.
Got Begley on in short, sat it on his head a little, but Gary was okay to the former Saint. Now he's got Simon Goodwin in all sorts of space. Amazing how that can happen. Goodwin running to half forward, left foots it inside the 50, kicks it to a 1-on-3 situation. Darcy, most occasions, is going to outmark Laddams. Handball off. They try and build something across half-back. Gian Siracusa over the top. The bounce has got to work here for Rowan Smith. It does. Smith looked to handball off. Now he just pumps it long down the line. Contested ball. The thump away came from Martin Matner. The ball stayed in play for the Crows. Gallagher over the top. Goodwin hands beautiful. It was McLeod. Got it to Bode inside the 50. Croft, the finger tipper, couldn't hang on. Robbins was a little unsure. Now Smith, who's doing some wonderful work back there, mops up, and the Bulldogs are safe.
He's been under enormous pressure, Smith, and he's reacted brilliantly in the game. Hahn to the speed of McMahon. This young boy can run. Gets it to centre wing. Skills good. Bowden, good body position. Well done. Immediate play on situation to Burse. Under pressure with a kick. Harris didn't get the bounce he wanted. Over the head. And Bassett should get a free kick for that, and will in the back pocket.
Side of the ground. They do this often. That's adventurous, and they cough it up. Picked up by Gilby. Left foot shot on goal, and he's got it.
Week after week, I go into the streets and meet all sorts of very interesting people. If aliens were looking for intelligent life forms, they'd be very disappointed. Yep, I mean a lot of crazy fans.
But now I'm proud to tell you I've become a true Crazy fan myself. And why not? Crazy Johns are the best mobile phone retailers in the country because everyone knows they give the best deals. Crazy Johns are #1 for mobile phones. Call 13 22 99.
Crazy Johns, we love you, mate!
15 minutes between goals there, and all of a sudden the Bulldogs are in front by 1 point. Bulldogs have had the last 5 scoring shots, but they've kicked 1-4, and Gilby has got them on the board with a brilliant effort. The Bulldogs late in this first quarter. We've played 21 minutes. There's time remaining just under the 5-minute mark. West knocks up, getting it out of the middle. Remember, the Bulldogs are first in clearances. Bowden flies. Ball in dispute. Burse, Johnson and Matner all involved in that contest.
A couple of changes too. Murphy now going back to take up Rashudo, who's playing again in the on the full forward line. So Murphy's gone to him. Hahn coming up. Looks like Robbins onto the ball.
Lots of players around the ball. Clark having a big impact. Got it to Goodwin. Kicked the first 2 goals of the game for Adelaide. He just thumps it out of there. Robbins leads in the race for the ball, picks it up cleanly. He's going to get it back here, Robbins. Now it goes further afield to Smith. Smith gets around one, loads it up from a long way out. Big long ball from Smith. That's a magnificent goal.
The new Commodore. It's like corners were made for it.
The Dogs biting back have kicked the last 2 goals, Gerard.
Yeah, big ones into the ruck, and Clark to the goal square.
Darcy, Dimartina, Bode got in the way. Goodwin, who was really good in the opening 5 or 6 minutes of this game, where he kicked 2 goals. In fact, the only 2 goals the Adelaide side have kicked. Edwards attempt. Perry, Harrison, the 2 22s there. And ball in half forward for the Adelaide Crows.
Now a fair case for a free there for Tyson Edwards, you would imagine.
It's a reasonable vertical leap too from number 9. 1-6 of their 8 first quarters in 2003. They've got some work to do if they're going to maintain that record. At the back, Dimartina. A little fumble. Now he picks it up. Gallagher comes at him. Bode as well. Ducks out of a couple. Gets a nice handball to Robbins. Kick to half forward, and Johnson in best position. Has it thumped away by John Cock. Begley controls it. Handball off. Matner's got to get around and left foot it down the line.
Nice
Lucky.
pass.
A little opportunistic, but it got to Tyson Stenglein. Inside the 50. Rashudo should have hung on. He's going to get back to Stenglein. He's still got it, number 20. Handball to Ruther, don't argue. The sliding handball forward. Perry, right foot shot on goal, untidy.
Robert Murphy's an exceptional player. He's gone to Rashudo now. Now, body to body, you would think he's going to struggle, but he's got closing speed and he reads the play so well. I mean, the first couple of occasions you would have thought Rashudo was an absolute moral to mark that, but he just does enough to get an arm in, just unbalanced him.
They butchered that opportunity, though. That should have gone through from Perry.
Rowan Smith turns 30 this week. Kick out wide, looking for Darcy. Gian Siracusa
Had a bit of it.
had a lot of it in this quarter so far, Gerard. Darcy and Brown combining. Handball to no one in particular. Bode, McLeod and Gallagher all combining with the resultant mark to Laddams. Right on 50, looking for the kick. Bigland's bumped off the ball. Murphy. He's got some skill and poise, hasn't he?
He's a beauty.
Johnson creating absolute havoc in the defence at the moment for the Adelaide Crows. Kick over the top of Gian Syracuse. Mitch Hahn went and got it. It's what he does best. Gian Syracuse, a little gimme kick. Set up McMahon. He is a left footer. He goes forward to Harris. Needs to lead a little bit stronger at the ball there. Cracks it at ground level. Great tackle by Matner. We'll see a ball up forward 50 Dogs.
Taking a bit of a risk by bringing the ball back into the middle, but it looks high risk play, but comes off. They've got some good legs to carry the footy through the middle. Gian Syracuse, Smith, and now McMahon.
Bode's cute little one worked. Gallagher, eyes on the ball, got the handball on the up. McLeod knocking up, getting it, number 11 for him on the afternoon already. Bode inside the forward 50. Rashudo this time picks it up on the half volley. Eventually gets a handle on it. Tyson Edwards squares it to Bode. Great vision and great use of the ball. Handball off now to the skipper. Rashudo from outside the 50 kicks a high one. Clark one out with Croft on the ground. Laddams picks it up, steps around a couple, still on the ground. Perry now with his head over the ball, and will eventually have a bounce 15 out.
James, I know you've only been following AFL football for some time, but there once was a thing in football called a free kick. Now, it has disappeared from the game, I understand that, and today we've in fact had 3.
And a front wedgie to go with it. Ball up, just 20 out
This
from
thing of
Adelaide's goal.
Gary, your great historian of the game, a free kick. Do you think we'll ever see it back?
Possibly not, Jared, but I tell you, this is an important 30 seconds for the Western Bulldogs right here.
Indeed it is. 6-point advantage for the Dogs, and it's in the forward 50 for the Crows. John Cock, which way will he go? Back into the middle. Goodwin, the standing start, has kicked 2 goals in this quarter for the Crows. But the standing start was delivered there in the way of a very strong mark by Gilby, who's been impressive in this first quarter. So they'll be happy to see the clock run down here. 7 possessions for Lindsay Gilby. Been an outstanding start. He'll go wide, and the Bulldogs, unbelievably, after looking like they were going to be crushed early, got their matchups right, and at quarter time lead it by a goal. Rowan Smith running through the lines at half-back, absolutely superb. And that man there, McLeod, was also a very exciting player for the Adelaide Crows.
Quarter time here at Amy Stadium. The Bulldogs 3-4-22 in front by 6 points over Adelaide 2-4-16.
He's in the race for the ball, picks it up cleanly. He's going to get it back here, Robbins. No, it goes further afield to Smith. Smith gets around one, loads it up from a long way out. Big long ball from Smith. That's a magnificent goal.
Tonight, casualties and chaos, how Adelaide would cope with a chemical disaster, and the drought that's responsible for a virus that is infecting our farmers.
I thought dating again would be tough.
He's cute. Is he younger than me?
Just for men hair colour, the Rejuvenator gets rid of grey hair in 5 easy minutes for a young, natural look.
Would you like to come in?
Just for men.
The Specialist Dealers Network, your friends for outdoor needs. Chainsaws, blowers, ride-on mowers, eliminate those weeds. Trim that hedge, cut that block, high pressure cleaners too. The Specialist Dealers Network, they'll show, look after you. They're everywhere, they really care, their backup will exceed. The Specialist Dealers Network, your friends for outdoor needs.
For a red-hot chance to win $5,000 cash. Get cracking to the Caravan and Camping Big Brand 6-day sale. Go from caravan dealer to camping store, bag a bargain for $250 or more, and qualify for a red-hot chance to win $5,000 cash. Check the daily papers for participating dealers. And you've got till 5 p.m. Saturday the 31st of May. So get cracking!
Oh, the joys of building a home.
We
we want to get a new house.
Ah, a new house. Something special?
And mine have white paint and windows and doors.
Good plan. But what about a home loan?
Adelaide Bank.
Good choice. But hey, aren't you being paid to say that?
When it's this cheap, you don't ask too many questions. Genuine Gainsborough Jacars, not $210, $109.95. $109.95, $109.95.
This is a beautiful finish, but you'd expect that with Gainsborough. This is rosemary, this is rosewood, but you're not paying $210.
Nah, they're not $210. $109.95, $109.95.
When it's this cheap, you don't ask too many questions.
So you got the Triton Turbo Diesel?
You mean the Triton 2.8 litre intercooled turbo diesel?
You lucky...
Yeah.
What a deal.
It's over $10,000 worth of value.
Double your shopping dollar. Ring up a bargain every time.
There are hundreds of dollars of savings.
Plus Bronte's story, her personal triumph when Nissan presents A Current Affair with Ray Martin.
This AFL coverage proudly brought to you by Holden Commodore, Sky City Adelaide and Radio Rentals.
That first quarter, pretty impressive quarter it was too for the Western Bulldogs, but there is another game going on, a very important one indeed. It is Geelong up against the Hawks at Telstra Dome, half-time at the Dome, and it is the Cats leading by 3 points. Ablett and Chapman have kicked 2 apiece for Geelong, and for the Hawks, Ben Dixon has 2 as well. So that will go right down to the wire. You picked it up early here back at Amy Stadium though, and it was Matthew Clark who was just dominant in the first 15 minutes of this game.
Yeah, he got him away very early with the first one, just straight down the throat of Tyson Stenglein. The ball goes forward. McLeod also has dominated, and their combination together with McLeod has been one of the features of the game. McLeod probably best on ground at the moment, along with Clark. But his running has been superb, Gary, and I think it needed to be addressed. Luke Darcy had a far better second half of the term than he did in the first. And Brian, the clearances would suggest that the centre brace clearly are going the way of Adelaide.
They were, and a lot of those came very early in the game. It was only around the ground in the end. The total clearances there, you see 10-5 in favour of the Adelaide Crows. Contested marks, though, an interesting one. Western Bulldogs 9, Crows 1.
Yes, let's go down to Michael Roberts on the boundary.
Thanks, Gary. And both coaches, well, they really targeted their attack. Seen Nathan Brown starting off at full forward again. Peter Rowe was pretty happy with the way they went in, but they've got to kick goals. Gary Ayres, he said you went too wide, especially early. You've got to go and be disciplined and go to the top of the square every time.
So we get ready to get the second term underway. The Bulldogs out by 6 points. Very impressive second half of that term. Darcy jumps in. Comes to Gian Siracusa. Left foots it around the body, coughs it up. Massey takes the uncontested mark across half-back. The handball to Bickley. The veteran with the drop punt. Long one to Perry. Almost took it. Now contests on the ground. Laddams picks it up and has it stripped away by West, who did very well. Smith did beautifully in the first term and did well there. Croft worried off it. The kick is going to fall again into the arms of Massey, who was gone. But he managed to salvage the situation. Begley in some space. McLeod has found far too much space. His chiselling ball to half forward is good, and Gallagher's got it. Kick and a half out from goal for James Gallagher. Got Tyson Edwards on in short, ignores that.
Gee, I reckon he had 2 or 3 good ones early.
Still got Tyson Edwards, and now he's got Perry, and now he's going to cough it up. McMahon did well. Got a hand in there and broke all of that up. And now with the left foot ball, clears nicely for the Dogs.
Precision football here from the Dogs. Smith Brilliant first quarter. Good start to the second. Garlick should have attacked just a little more there. A little bit flat on that. Matner tidies it up. Gives it off to Massey. Massey back in the corridor. John Cock, and they complete the switch of play to the outer side where McGregor stands. Now he long balls it forward. Edwards eventually gets the ball he probably should have got a minute ago. Into the centre of the ground. Good looking kick. Finds Begley. Runs to 50. Got a heavy knock from Hahn. Thought it was in the side, but it will be a down ground free kick.
Let's have a look at this. Mitchell Hahn here, the player, probably fractionally late, I would imagine was the call, and it's ended up in the hands of Simon Goodwin.
He's kicked 2 first quarter goals, the only 2 goals for the Crows, this to make it 3. Goodwin started the day at full forward. Will line up from almost point-blank range. Kick on the way is there. He has 3.
When did you last stop and think about the price of your car insurance? Does yours compare with Amy? Don't just renew your current policy. Compare it with Amy's prices first.
Lucky you're with Amy. There's a new show coming to Night Train. Fabulous food and non-stop laughter. Dinner and show packages for groups of all shapes and sizes. Don't settle for the same old boring Christmas function. Have a night out with the Night Train. Night Train, it rocks, baby.
So Adelaide get it back to level pegging. Early second-term goal from Simon Goodwin. Clark clean possession, slips the handball across. How many times have we seen this? McLeod can go all the way. Loads up with a big long ball and gets the job done. He is as good as it gets, Andrew McLeod.
Well, that was a direct reply, I think, to Nathan Buckley last night. I think Gary saw him do it on the highlights package this morning. He said, well, what Nathan can do, I can do just as well. And great work once again by Matthew Clark. Takes it out and gives it to Andrew McLeod, and not a better player in full flight is there in the Cape.
They've got to start looking and thinking about placing someone at the back of the square, the Western Bulldogs. I suspect Gary is would react pretty quickly, but you just look, if you have a look at the centre half forward position now, it is just wide open for the likes of McLeod to come bursting through. So,
well, they've got to abandon play, and so we're not going to rove to Luke Darcy. Jan Syracuse has given McLeod about 4 or 5 metres at this bounce, and it's too far.
Awesome play from the Adelaide Crows, and McLeod, the brilliant finish. Hahn sells the dummy, kicks long, contested ball here. Harris got a bit of a run at it, brought it to ground. Johnson, always dangerous. Garlick. Adelaide got numbers. Bassett did his best. John Cock. Johnson was real hard at the ball though, put it out into open space. What can the Dogs do from here? Nothing. Bassett, McGregor and John Cock all combining to get them out of trouble momentarily. Clark, a little nudge there. Darcy milked it for its best, and will get the result in 3. Darcy from centre wing. Waits. So Clark just manoeuvring Darcy partially under the ball. Gian Syracuse, Smith, gee, isn't he given some driving run from that back line. Harris over the top. Couldn't get a leap at it. Johnson, ground level ball, under pressure. Brown, he needs support. A lot of Adelaide Crows jumpers. The tackle is effective. A little unlucky there, John Cock. And Brown will line up from 15 out on an angle.
Sorry, and a tough kick. A very tough kick too for Nathan Brown on his left foot. Down on confidence, kicking into, probably into the breeze, you would say, that's going across the ground. The funny way he holds that ball. He can work it back into the breeze.
Nathan Brown taking plenty of time just to make sure mentally and physically he's right. Will line up, checks the man on the mark and also the man on the side mark there to make sure that that's where it is with the umpire. He's happy with that. He creeps a little bit and then lines up with the straight drop punt. Kick on its way, and I think he has nailed it. He has. Brown's got his first goal.
Then get into Radio Rentals for their Big Wash sale and 3 big bonuses. Rent or buy any washing machine and get a bonus 3 months worth of Omo, plus a bonus set of towels, plus a minimum $100 trade-in on any working washer. Plus, you can buy now and pay no interest until 2006. But hurry, Radio Rentals' Big Wash sale can't last. Radio Rentals is South Australia's biggest electrical retailer. Now that's big!
Seesawing encounter. at AAMI Stadium. The Dogs won't go away. Clark doing some beautiful work in the centre of the ground. Again, he affects the clearance, and again he gets it to McLeod. Left foot inside the 50. Rashudo comes at it. Lindsay Gilbey did very nicely to go back with the flight of the ball, showing good courage and composure, and he took the mark. Kicks into the centre of the ground. Ball carries his intended target. Now it's a contested ball. McGregor picks it up. Left foots it, bouncing inside the 50. Darcy does nicely. Off to Murphy. Hangs onto it for long enough to get it to Smith. And now Dimartina's away. Got a lot of turf in front of him. Decides to go with the foot pass. Sat it on the head of his teammate. Advantage paid. Picked up by Burse. Around the body. Kicks a very nice goal.
Nothing performs like an Astra, now in turbo.
Ball back in the middle of the ground. 6-point advantage for the Western Bulldogs. Great play by Burse. Garlick combining. Darcy out of the middle.
He's lifted.
He has indeed, Jared. Garlick, one amongst three, did well to earn the ball for the Bulldogs. Hahn there in support now. Gee, did well Simon Garlick because he was circled by some waiting Crows.
Well, it's turned into a good game of footy. Both sides are, have plenty of running power out there. McLeod is just absolutely dominating. Jen Syracuse has got to accept that he's got to go and sit right on him. In fact, I think the change has been made, and Shane Burrs has been pushed onto McLeod.
Bowden, really nice turnaround and kick to Garlick. Thought about going. The Adelaide crowd thought that he had gone. But in the end, he goes back and takes his kick, slips it over the top. Jordan McMahon in some space.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Both times that Adelaide have been able to get the jump, I reckon they sat back and thought, here we go. We are going to blow this open again. And the minute they do that, they start to run forward of the footy. And this is where you see that many Western Bulldogs folks. I don't think they're respecting the Western Bulldogs at the moment. And if they can just continue to push on, they could do some damage here.
Highly skilled footballer Jordan McMahon. The kick on the way looks very nice. They are here to play the Western Bulldogs, and they're out again by 2 goals. The Bulldogs, and they're out again by 2 goals.
It's just a great opportunity for this Western Bulldogs side. I just don't think the Adelaide Crows side, I might be wrong, they looked at Gene Syracuse and looked at Gilbey, McMahon, Hahn, and they thought, yeah, we'll just get on the end of a couple and we will cruise to victory here. If they can win it at a 50-50 and turn the footy over, there are options all over the place for the Dogs.
Simon Garlick very smart there too, Jared. He knew that would be probably beyond his kicking capabilities in terms of length, and waited for something to transpire, and it was the brilliant McMahon. And
Dimartina staying at the back of the square, which is a much better place to be to come and meet someone like McLeod.
And Bickley doing likewise for the Crows.
3 goals in a row for the Western Bulldogs. Out of the middle, the clearance to the Crows.
McLeod.
Indeed. Gian Syracuse, Darcy working harder, as Jared has mentioned. They hover and they wait for the umpire to blow the whistle.
Actually, it looks like Luke Darcy has taken up the challenge of playing one-on-one footy, which I've been critical of some ruckmen in the past, and this is a good challenge for him too. To wear him into the ground. Mightn't happen in the second quarter, but the third and the fourth.
Dogs have got Robert Murphy now alone. He's the best player to have as a floater across sweeper across the half-back line.
Clark and Darcy went at each other, and the ball landed somewhere else. This is Jordan McMahon now in the centre. Massage is a nice one to Bowden. Just the attacking side of the centre circle. Been an impressive player this season. Kick inside the 50. Here comes Nathan Brown. He's got a couple to beat. Tyson Stendeline did really well. Took a nice mark across half-back. Now John Cock can go over the top. The numbers out here for the Adelaide Crows. Ben Hart on the overlap from Begley. Down the line he goes. Hard running from Massey, and good mark too.
Great effort. Courage.
The former Blue gets the handball off. Here comes McLeod again. Outside the 50. Drop punt on the way from Andrew McLeod. He is putting on a clinic.
big load to wash? Then get into Radio Rentals for their big wash sale and 3 big bonuses. Rent or buy any washing machine and get a bonus 3 months worth of Omo, plus a bonus set of towels, plus a minimum $100 trade-in on any working washer. Plus, you can buy now and pay no interest until 2006. But hurry, Radio Rentals' big wash sale can't last. Radio Rentals is South Australia's biggest electrical retailer. Now that's big!
It's been a class and quality display in terms of goals in this quarter. 6 straight goals, 3 from each side. Been brilliant football, and the Crows are within 1 straight goal, and Bruton warms up on the side for the Western Bulldogs. Gary's man. And mine. Clark. Handball out wide. Starting to get a sniff, the Crows. They've kicked 3 goals in this quarter, as I mentioned.
Free kick, throwing the ball, or incorrect disposal, whatever the rule interpretation is.
Advantage was paid and then brought back because there wasn't any. Mitch Harn's got it on half forward for the Bulldogs. Now he's got Dimatina in the middle. It'll mean conceding a little, but it opens up both sides of the ground. The kick forward to Gian Siracusa from Dimatina was good. He's allowed to play on. Should have kept going. Lacked a little confidence there. Johnson does. He said, I'll go for home if you won't, and he nails it. Bulldogs have kicked 4 in the second quarter.
If you're frustrated with dial-up internet, switch to iPrimus Broadband and enjoy an always-on, frustration-free internet connection.
So even though the Adelaide Crows look like they're travelling better, Gerard, they're making no ground on the Western Bulldogs at the moment.
Now you've got to admire the courage of the Western Bulldogs, but this still remains a problem, the centre clearances.
That's Rashudo. Didn't get much on that kick. Now Dimatina sells a little bit. Pumps it inside the 50 into a nest of players. The thump came from John Cock. On the ground, McGregor did well. Bassett, nice handball on the up to Goodwin. He pops it up straight to Lindsay Gilby. He's had a good game. Slips it in short. Here's Bruton for his first touch.
Looks good.
Just steps around, gets it back to Gilby. Gilby at half forward, inside the 50. Good kick. And Brown takes the mark.
Been smart coaching from Peter Rowe to make to play to their strengths. Obviously they've got McLeod, but they've tried to resurrect that. McLeod now in the goal square for Adelaide, having a bit of a blow. But they've played very much a running game, and they're doing it well. And let's have a look at this one. He's brought this back.
Nathan Brown, that is just fantastic. I tell you what, the skills are on display this afternoon. Some of the goal kicking in this second term has been fantastic.
Don't kick goals from that pocket here, do
No, I was just going to say that defies all the logic that we've heard from this ground. The wind is pushing across the goals. Bruton gets his first touch there. Very nice it was, and found its way to Gilby. And Brown, he's missing what he should be kicking, but he's kicking the... Well,
what he should be missing.
Exactly. And I tell you, this is a fair game of footy at the moment. This McLeod's having a spell, and aren't the Western Bulldogs happy about that? Let's quickly go down to Michael Roberts.
Yes, the doctor's been out twice to Luke Darcy. He's gone into the goal square. And Bruton, actually, there's a bit of a story behind him. He sent his own letter to the club, Scott Clayton, recruiting manager, and the rest is history.
Well, he's just made his first error in AFL footy, giving away a free kick.
Dowdy, biggest margin of the game, 18 points to the advantage of the Bulldogs. Mark taken by Crown. Met solidly there. Play on, says the umpire, no freedom. Stenbrine gives it up.
There they go.
West comes charging off the half-back line. He uses the ball very well. Bowden, been efficient further up the ground. Kick, just wanted to move it quickly forward. Up to Johnson. No winner in the air. Darcy to tackle from behind. He looked to move okay. Johnson there as well. John Cock fighting to extract the ball. And we'll have the ball up.
With Darcy going to the goal square, and no, they're doing a change now. It looked like Hart was going to go to Darcy and Bassett back to Brown, which would have suited, I think, the Western Bulldogs, but it has reverted.
Matthew Bode preparing to come on. Clark again in control, but again, the clearance in that stoppage goes to the Dogs. This time, Mitchell Hahn gets it to Garlick, who's thumped into the turf. A bounce 30 out.
A pretty fair effort. This scoreboard says the Bulldogs are 3 goals in front at AAMI Stadium. that's a pretty fair effort considering they were miles behind it in the first 15 minutes of this match.
The nonplussed crowd, Jared, at the moment too, you can hear. They don't quite understand what's going on. John Cock on the up. Ben Hart goes backwards to McGregor, who's been solid. He slips it over the top to the man who's been fantastic. Again, he's got acres of space to move in. Down the line, the kick's good. Massey's been okay too. Now they square it up. Doughty. Kick and a half out from goal.
16 disposals from McLeod already.
18 points down, the Adelaide Crows. Now Ben Hart, very square, takes the mark.
They may have to consider plan B pretty shortly, Gary, and throw Biglands and Perry into the goal square and get it there long, because at the moment they're getting beaten at the running game.
This is Perry now, Jared.
Well, the thing about, sorry, JB, the thing about it is, when you're playing the types of players they play out of the goal square, you pretty well know they're not going to attack the square. So what the Dogs have done is pushed really hard defensively and just crowded it all up. On that occasion, he
no
found
support
a rare
for
hole.
Croft, was there?
No, really, one of them should have peeled off and chopped that one off. But this is one of the few occasions this quarter they've been able to find a leading forward.
Ian Perry found some kicking form at the start of the year, was deadly accurate. His probability just under 60%, which isn't bad. The kick's on the way. He may have just pulled it away to the right. I think he has, and they're behind. First blemish on the scorecard for the second term, Brian.
Indeed. Been very accurate kicking from both sides. In this quarter, we've seen 8 goals kicked, and that's the first behind. Smith from fullback, goes short to West, had to get down on all fours just to make sure he was to mark that. But West so far, 9 possessions, been a little quiet on this quarter. The turnover there is complete as crowd marks.
When you play the sort of game they do, Jared, which is high possession, find the free man, there will be mistakes from time to time.
And Crow may become a factor, I reckon, in the second half, Gary, out of the goal square even. We've seen him do it before. He's played in the defensive role out of the goal square and also as a forward. But I wouldn't be surprised if they had to change their structure a bit. They look as if they need some height up forward.
Well, Biglands has just come onto the ground. He's replacing
Robbins with the
Ladham.
Kick there as Crowell lines up for his first attempt on goal from right on 50. This one drifting a little right as well. So 2 behinds in a row for the Adelaide Crows.
Well, if they do have a taller forward such as a Biglands, it gives them the opportunity to go hard to the square, long to the square if need be, which could open up some room for a leading Goodwin.
16-point advantage for the Bulldogs with 7 minutes remaining in second quarter.
They'll be pinching themselves, the Western Bulldogs.
I'm not sure, JB. There was his confidence about them coming over today.
You did say that, Gary. Smith down the line. Bouncing ball. Massey to McLeod. Brought his own footy to the ground today. In short with precision to Tyson Edwards. Again wide though. Gary Ayres spoke at quarter time about how he wanted him to square it up. That's better. On the ground, Crowell. Handball on the up to Biglands. He's crashed into the deck. Jordan McMahon worried up it, but the handball through to Power was okay. His linking ball missed its target in harm, but the bounce was nice for him. Straightens up and kicks long. Again, there's about 7 Adelaide players who can take this mark.
And that's where they've got to be a bit disciplined, the Bulldogs. They've got a running game going. They can't just long bomb.
Crowell gets it back from McLeod, decides to square it up. Biglands to fly from behind, brings it to the front. Perry having to do the roving work. Lindsay Gilbey just stepped through and took the footy away.
He does indeed. Johnson combining fast hands there from Power. Sees Gilbey with the ball again. He's been very effective so far. Kicks the ball out wide. Not sure I agree with you on that, Jared, because I think the way the Bulldogs have been playing in the season whole, the one thing they haven't been doing is be direct. Now, I think you can only take one step at a time. I know that's in the perfect world, but I'm not sure they're quite ready for that step yet.
The way they've structured it up, though, Brian, they've got so many players in defence. If they just kick the ball long, they're going to kick it to the majority of Crow players, and then it's just going to rebound very quickly. If they can just maintain possession, even if they have to hold it and wait for those guys to come forward, they may do better.
Nicholas Bruton has given away his second free kick.
He thought he had it was his free, so he took the ball, and that cost him 50. So, Gary, that'll be a 50-metre penalty.
Yes, it's a learning curve for the young fellow. At top of the square, this is where they'll head.
Exactly where they head. And they fly from all directions, and Biglands takes a big, strong pack mark.
Yes, it was a good mark, and it was like the old-fashioned kick-to-kick at school, Gary. I'm not sure if it's still as prevalent, but no one wants to be at the front, and everybody was looking to take the Specky, and, well, Specky Biglands did the job.
Rhett Biglands, 25 out, almost directly in front. Kick on, goal is there.
We need to grow. I'm just not sure how to go about it.
All right, well, let's have a look at the options.
When it comes to business thinking, chartered accountants have the superior training and business experience to guide your business in the right direction.
How big do you want this to be?
How big?
Yeah.
Hahn and Gilby both off the ground for the Bulldogs, so resting some of their guys that have been supplying some run. 22 minutes in the second quarter, 10-point advantage Bulldogs. Just over 5 minutes remaining. Bruton in the middle there. Massey. Handball comes out the back door. Begley did well. Spooned it up slightly. Back to Rashudo. Needs a good clean ball there. Bode did it well to Begley. Driving kick inside 50. Croft one out with Biglands. Dimatina was there with courageous support. It spills the ground, picked up by Dowdy. It's bending, won't be enough. It's the minor score. The Crows, once again, they come in patches, are threatening.
Admirable from Paul Dimatina. Not sure whether it was the smartest thing to do.
Rowan Smith kicks to himself and then goes long looking for Brown. Dowdy did well to get a hand in there and break it up. Across the line now. And Dowdy just rolls unnecessarily over the top of Nathan.
And it looks like Nathan Brown is back on the ball, so he looks as if he's going to do the last 5 minutes of each quarter. But Robbo, we've got the big fellow off the ground.
We certainly have. Just came off, hands on hips, ready to have a blow and walk around the boundary line. Bruton.
Mark Rashudo, handball back to Dowdy. He gets a kick inside the 50. It's a real wobbly one. Almost Harrison cleverly. Ball on the ground. Harrison goes back and gets it again. Well done.
It's a better structure right now, though, up in that forward line, because now it's a physical contest. When it was a loose ball get situation, the Bulldogs were beating the Crows. Now it's body on body, and they're creating some damage down there.
Got to do something about Andrew McLeod. Look at that disposal list. A couple here doing well, though. Robbins flicking it over the top to Garlick. Decides to hang on to it and then goes out wide to McMahon, who's been good. His kick very nice to Johnson. Some space for the Western Bulldogs forwards to run into. Long ball inside the 50. Number of players in the air. Rashudo at ground level. Got it to Massey. Massey's hands were good to McGregor and they're away.
They are indeed. Did it really well working the ball out there. Goodwin. Got a bit of space here on centre wing. He brings it back into the corridor. Danger. Biglands. Croft did really well in front to bring the ball to ground level. Smith pursued hotly by a couple. Has done it well to this date. Harrison just came on the ground a moment ago. Murphy involved here as well, and Robbins running in support. So they're getting some numbers back, the Dogs. Straight up the middle. Kick's got to be perfect. Bowden on all fours, coughed it up. Umpire said no mark. Will have a ball up centre half forward for the Adelaide Crows. They trail by 9 points.
The other thing it does, and as you have a look at Bowden there, he wouldn't pay that. It brings Crummers into play too. All of a sudden they get a contest, a high contest, they will run and crumb with more aggression. It was all duck no dinner before. It was either hit the bloke on the lead or the ball just rebounded out of 50.
Clark bangs it forward. It's now inside the 50. Bode with the handball over the top to Massey. Runs into an open goal and goes bang.
Not a big road to wash. Then get into Radio Rentals for their Big Wash sale and 3 big bonuses. Rent or buy any washing machine and get a bonus 3 months worth of Omo, plus a bonus set of towels, plus a minimum $100 trade-in on any working washer. Plus, you can buy now and pay no interest until 2006. But hurry, Radio Rentals' Big Wash sale can't last. Radio Rentals is South Australia's biggest electrical retailer. Now that's big!
Just a 3-point game in favour of the Bulldogs as we draw close to half-time. Good bounce in the middle by the umpire. Clark extends those long arms and got first use, but the extractors unable to complete their job in the likes of Goodwin.
Darcy back into the middle, obviously. He had a 10-minute spell and back on the ball.
Clark won that one down. Garlick has been moved onto the ball by the looks. Happy to lock the ball in and not let it come out too loosely there. It was well done. Coaches don't like to see the ball come out in that situation if you've been outnumbered. And I think Garlick clearly was.
Prow's been pushed down onto Bowden. And McGregor's gone for
Goodwin. Got a bit of a shove in the back there. Boyd came through. Handball to McMahon. He's very good by foot. Driving ball, Johnson on the legal mark.
Gee, he's had a bit of footy too, Brad Johnson. He's certainly been able to get on the end of a few kicks.
Yeah, he's playing that role between centre-half and full forward, isn't he? And moving laterally.
And being able to get on the end of away from Graham Johncock, which Nathan Brown is struggling a bit at full forward on Ben Hart. I wonder whether Johnson would be worth a try out of the goal square for the last couple of minutes.
The 8th possession for Brad Johnson.
They've responded well, the Dogs.
Has kicked one goal. Kick on the way. Needs to draw this back in. He hasn't. Will go right to the line. Just the minor score there for the Western Bulldogs. So that's their first behind of the quarter after kicking pretty inaccurately in the first quarter. And 8-5-53 the Dogs. Adelaide 7-7-49.
Ben Hart just shielding the eyes, trying to find an open target. Tough to do when you've got 20/20 vision. Now he goes with the drop punt towards the member side. Clark, ball carried him on the ground. Dimatino's got a couple of teammates running beside him. West is one of them, pumps it inboard. Tumbling ball wasn't great. Now they've got a chance. Harris picks it up, turns around. Kick on goal is not accurate. In fact, it misses the lot. Harris perhaps had more time than he realised. That's out of bounds on the full.
That was the preceding mark to Brad Johnson. He had to shoot from just outside of 50. I wondered, Brian, whether that couldn't have been a 50-metre penalty, but...
pretty happy with that decision. I think that was a massive.
And a question mark for the mark.
Very grumpy.
Simultaneously.
Very grumpy with the umpires today is Gerard Boone. Both. Goes straight up the line on centre wing leg. Beautiful kick, finds Perry. Marks. A bit of pace on the lead, Perry. Kick. In the hole is Darcy. Handball needs to be good. Robbins got rid of it under pressure. Darcy, what will they do? Back to Power. The triangle set up. Dimatina. Now Garlick and Murphy all combining. Out of trouble in the end. It had to be a mug. Go for it. John Croft trapped it really well. That half back, that was a mouthful. As he goes out wide and finds Edwards. And Edwards marks.
They've got to be smarting the Crows. Just can't long bomb because they've got so many players back the Dogs.
Over the top. But it's all too late, and that has been an enthralling first half of footy. The Bulldogs out by 4 points, and some wonderful skills on display, Gary Lyon.
Well, that is a good win for the Western Bulldogs. They've won, they've been in front at quarter time and been in front at half time. I don't think Peter Road could want for much more than that. It's been an entertaining game. It's had a bit of a seesawing effect on it. Different players have stepped up, but there's been one constant. His name's Andrew McLeod. He's racked up 20 possessions to the half. It is the Western Bulldogs, 8-5-53, leading the Crows, 7-7-49.
Internet predators who are after your kids. Liz Hayes, face to face with evil.
Do you disgust yourself?
Also, George Clooney's new job, 60 Minutes, tonight. Oscar winner Cuba Gooding Jr. and Tom Berenger.
You killed those men. You're out of your mind.
The nail-biting premiere thriller.
What are my options? You don't have any.
8:30 tonight. A Murder of Crows on Channel 9.
If you're frustrated with dial-up internet, Switch to iPrimus broadband and enjoy an always-on, frustration-free internet connection.
I'm in my 3rd year of the Air Force doing a science degree. One of the better things at ADFA is giving you so many opportunities of things to do. You get paid to get a degree and you have a lot of fun while you're here. We had an exercise where we had to go and rescue a downed pilot. I was leading, so I was given a brief, given some coordinates, etc., and told, go find him. We found the pilot, got the task done, and it really did give everyone a buzz. I know that given any situation that I'll be able to take charge and get the job done.
You know, he should be kicking himself for not taking it to an RAA-approved repairer in the first place.
For me, I think the most valuable thing about being at ADFA is not only that I get a recognised degree, but as an officer, I also get the skills to manage and lead a team of people.
Are you going to give any of your clients their money back, Mr. Robertson?
When Adelaide needs to know,
It has a job, but no takers.
the current affair has it covered.
We've got too much shark and human interaction. Get out of Adelaide. You are terrorists.
Local or national. Standing up for things that are right.
Things I worry about the most is the teasing, the picking on.
Recognising people who really make a difference.
Laughter and happiness is something that makes us feel better.
That's what a current affair is all about.
6:30 weeknights on 9.
The red-hot favourites, the Adelaide Crows. The goal kickers up until half-time. Simon Goodwin, makeshift full forward, making a pretty fair fist of it with 3. Andrew McLeod has got 2, and for the Western Bulldogs, Nathan Brown, the only multiple goal scorer. It's been a very entertaining first half of footy, and one man has put on a clinic for us, Jared. We've all sung his praises. We know his capabilities, but Andrew McLeod, that was a scintillating first half.
Yes, it was, Gary, and I loved his work out in the middle of the ground. That's where he is so critically damaging. And just bringing the ball, he's had almost a dozen inside 50s, and you just love to be on the lead coming out of the goal square to this man, because generally he's pinpoint, and his impact on the match has been quite extraordinary, and you just wonder where they would be, the Crows, had he not been firing.
I'm not sure if they've given up on him. I'm sure they haven't, but it's almost, I've watched pretty carefully, it's not a fierce, hard one-on-one tag. I mean, they're conceding that he's going to get a bit of the footy, and they've tried to make his opponent a pretty fair offensive weapon. Gene Syracuse has been good, Gilby's had a bit of it, and they've all had a crack at him.
They have, but he just keeps on getting the footy. I think it's not so much the around the ground tag, you can accept that, but it's in the centre. You've just got to go man on man, because he's so damaging there. But as you said, it's been an interesting game in that it's been quite spacious, because only one contested mark for the whole game, and the Dogs' whole game plan was based around running, and no one has set them up better from defence than Rowan Smith himself.
Enjoying a terrific season, Rowan Smith, and he is just patrolling that half-back line. We know what he is capable of when he does see those goals. He's a thumping kick of the footy, and that was just a magnificent finish.
and he continues to enjoy probably his best year for a number of years, indeed. Matthew Clark, we said at the start of the game that he's probably the form tap ruckman of the competition. Doesn't win a heap of possessions, but doesn't need to when he gives his midfield an armchair ride like this.
Well, him and Michael Gardner, Gary, I think are those big blokes having the greatest impact. But he's playing better footy than I think he's played ever for the Adelaide Crows, because he's running far better and he's pushing into the forward line, and he's really dictating terms there up against Luke Darcy, All-Australian last year.
Doesn't always correspond, the hit-outs with the clearances, but in this particular situation it does. It just says that he has been directing it to the advantage of the Adelaide Crows. He's won the 22 hit-outs Adelaide, he's had 16 of those, and the Western Bulldogs just 7. So, and they're taking full advantage. It's one of the reasons why you won't ever be able to give them away here.
No, you won't. But the Western Bulldogs, I thought the return after a slow start was quite extraordinary, and the goal there to get a little bit of confidence going was so important. Nathan Brown flips one out, and we've seen Rowan Smith kick this from a couple of angles. Truly, from behind, it was a great kick. And they have they haven't kicked very many goals go from set shots. They've all generally been on the run.
Yes, and they had a number of options going forward, and I think the realisation struck during that second quarter that they would find some free players. So, that's important for them, and this was one of the times that Gene Syracuse was able to run into a bit of space. Brad Johnson is the player who ends up kicking the goal. But they win the footy in the middle, they will have some options.
And they've been pretty efficient. They've had 9 inside 50s less than the Adelaide Crows, and there's big Nick Bruton getting involved in his first goal, because this bloke kicks the unkickable goal.
He does indeed. He's probably had 4 shots at the moment, Nathan Brown. He's got 2 on the board. He's going to have to get busy if the Western Bulldogs are going to hang on. Can they, Jared, quickly?
I think you still have to go for Adelaide in the tight one.
They've been brave, and they remain in front by 4 points. Half-time here at AAMI Stadium. We'll take a break and update you with the other big game taking place to see us out around 9. That's the Hawks and the Cats. After this, you're watching Sunday Football.
Monday, what will Jonathan Evans take home? 64,000, 125, 250? How about $1 million? Want to know the answer? Watch 8:30 Monday, Millionaire on 9.
Because morning can strike at any time.
They need the full-body taste of Nescafe Blend 43.
What are you looking for?
I'm not really sure yet.
My first car.
We're looking for a second car.
A really good deal.
Sounds like you're looking for North Point Toyota, and you'll find us on North East Road, at Hampstead Gardens near OG Road, and Hillcrest near Holden Hill Police Station. New or used, service and parts. We've got what you're looking for.
North Point Toyota. Help us if you can.
Hi, your holiday's all planned. Just look at this.
Pay 4 nights and get an extra night free. Includes return airfares on Hamilton Island in the Whitsundays from just $1,114.
We're Harvey World Travel, we're the travel professionals.
Take up the Australian Pensioners Insurance Agency Home and Contents Challenge and stop paying extra. Australian pensioners charge you no extra to pay your premium by the month.
I don't pay extra. How about you?
We have new for all replacement on contents, regardless of age, plus accidental breakage of fixed glass at no extra cost.
We don't pay extra.
How about you?
If you're over 55 and don't work full-time, take up the challenge and stop paying extra.
Call Australian Pensioners Insurance Agency on 132 555.
Cuba Gooding Jr., A Murder of Crows premieres tonight.
This AFL coverage proudly brought to you by AAMI, Primus Telecom and Crazy Johns.
Shadows are lengthening here at AAMI Stadium, half-time in the match between the Adelaide Crows and the Western Bulldogs. sees the Dogs lead by 4 points. They've got plenty of work still to be done, but they are very much in this match and have given a very good account of themselves. There is another big game going on back in Melbourne at the Telstra Dome. Two sides that have been under pretty intense pressure over the last couple of weeks. Hawthorn and Geelong, halfway through the last quarter. Let's take a look now at the match highlights so far.
There were some positive signs there. There's the lead, and that's loose checking because Bateman marks and kicks the opening goal.
Everett and King. Oh, someone may have touched an umpire. Rook's not worried about it at the moment. He's run through and put it right through the middle. Gave them a good ride. Lekas usually knows how to find the middle. No exception there. Hay watching Graham like a hawk appropriately. Into the square, no mark. Mooney, just on the ground. Snaps. What an interchange. The Cats going forward. Ablett on the break. On the brink of something great. Gary Ablett Jr. Here's Shane Crawford breaking the shackles from Jared Rook perhaps. Sends them deep. Dixon! Oh, exciting leap from Ben Dixon. And the Hawks are suddenly flying. So Dixon, the momentum up for the Hawks. He needs to make the most of it. He has. Yes, he has. He's got two. Osborne, good tackling, great tackling by the Cats. McCarthy, somehow he got rid of it. Graham, King, by stealth, the Cats going forward. Stephen King goes for home. The captain goes for home and gets there.
Cameron Ling to half forward. Pack forms. Graham keeps his feet. Can he finish it? Big Ben stumbles, regains his footing, and starts the second half in style for Geelong.
So the margin 14 at Telstra Dome, 10-6 to 8-4.
Crawford runs onto it to Skipper to inspire here. Wonderful handball in front of Osborne. If it sits for him, he'll finish it with a goal. Cameron Ling with 7 touches this quarter after having just 8 in the first half. All Hawks should have cleared it there. Little bit of knock on. Johnson or Ablett. Can they get both the ball in the goal square? Still a chance. Oh, it's a goal! It's a terrific goal to Will Slade. Loney under pressure. Was he held without it? No. Hayes there will have a boundary throw in deep in the Geelong. It's deliberate. Well, that's a game call in the opening half minute. And Ablett will take the free kick. Goes short. Spriggs. Play on. It's not 15. They're not aware of it. Spriggs. Finally, here's the call. Drives it towards the goal square. 2 on 2. Graham does the roving. And he has kicked the goal.
Big game, 15 minutes into the last quarter. Doesn't look great for the Hawks. Gary Ablett has got 2, Chapman 2, Riccardi 2, and Matthew McCarthy 2 for the Hawks. Ben Dixon has got 3 goals. So stand by for further heat to be turned onto the Hawthorn Footy Club. But we've got a game here at Amy Stadium, half-time. It is the Bulldogs by 4 points. We'll be back for the third quarter. You're watching Sunday Football.
$1.99, $1.99 per kilogram of onions. Make you cry today, they'll make
This news break is brought to you by South Australia's leading business bank.
Good afternoon. In breaking news, Governor-General Dr. Peter Hollingworth has resigned. In a statement, he has told the Prime Minister that it is with deep regret that he will have to step down, and he's asked Mr. Howard to advise the Queen of his decision. And a second person is in custody over the discovery of a woman's body in the Port River on Wednesday. The 61-year-old man was arrested at his home at Mansfield Park this morning. He's been charged with impeding the investigation and will appear in the Magistrates' Court tomorrow. We'll see you soon.
What do these two men have in common? That's a good question.
Multiple choice.
Is it A, outstanding athletic ability, B, success and stardom, or how about C, regular outrageous behavior?
Obviously, that's inappropriate.
Actually, absolutely nothing, except they're about to come face-to-face on Australia's hottest variety hour.
Who can argue with that?
Don't miss Shane Warne, David Campbell, and Australia's new king of comedy, McAuliffe, tonight, 9:30 Monday on Channel 9.
What has he
Then get into Radio Rentals for their Big Wash sale and 3 big bonuses. Rent or buy any washing machine and get a bonus 3 months worth of Omo, plus a bonus set of towels, plus a minimum $100 trade-in on any working washer. Plus, you can buy now and pay no interest until 2006. But hurry, Radio Rentals' Big Wash sale can't last. Radio Rentals is South Australia's biggest electrical retailer. Now that's big!
You ready, my man?
I was born ready.
Hey, Rick, sure is getting close to lunchtime, huh?
It sure is, Jim.
Any ideas?
Well, Subway's got something delicious, like the meatball sub. It's got Italian-style meatballs in a zesty marinara sauce topped with melted cheese, served hot on your choice of fresh-baked gourmet bread. You know, I can go for one right now.
Yeah. Whoa. Excellent work, my friend.
Yeah.
Subway, eat fresh.
You know, he should be kicking himself for not taking it to an RAA-approved repairer in the first place.
$1 from every specially marked children's Panadol pack sold goes to the Make-A-Wish Foundation to help make the wishes of kids with life-threatening illnesses come true.
They make me feel better sometimes because I look at my book of barcodes and sometimes when I'm feeling like adrift in the world and I don't really know my place or something's going wrong, I can look at the barcodes and I can think there's something that knows certainly what it's meant to do. It has one task and it gets that information across. It's really beautiful in a way. They're quite the most delightful things. They give me great comfort, I suppose, with their single mission in life.
Welcome back to Amy Stadium. There is Wayne Carey just out. A little bit of work done on the knee in the past couple of weeks. Expected back when, Jared?
Oh, it'd be a couple of weeks, you'd reckon, Gary, but just had a bit of a stroll through the grandstand in the bleachers there. Pretty disappointed, the Crows fans, about the flooding tactics of the Western Bulldogs.
Is that right?
Yep, they have been stacking the back line.
Doesn't matter how you do it, Jared. They are ahead by 4 points, and they'd be happy with that at the end of the day. They'd love to have Wayne Carey. He should return in a couple of weeks. Brett Burton in the foreground as well. Let's go down to the boundary with Michael Roberts.
Thanks, Gary. And just chatting to the Western Bulldogs doctor, he said that Darcy did receive a corky, but should be okay. They'll monitor that. Look, on the outer side, brilliant sunshine, quite warm. On the boundary line, icy down here. They've called for extra blankets. More stretching needs to be done, and they're actually players get quite cold down here, so they've got to look at that as well.
Don't worry, Robbo, we'll send the hot water bottle down, son.
Start of the second half of football. It is the Western Bulldogs by 4 points, and they're into attack with a Scott West clearance. Crown hovering. Harris, Johnson and West all combining. Kick over the head of the Brown. It needs a good bounce. Brown will run onto it. If it's not, it is there. That is a great kick by Scotty West.
That is a big start for the Western Bulldogs, and importantly, Jared, it reversed a bit of a trend by winning one of the centre clearances, the all-important centre clearances.
Well, I reckon that was their most decisive victory today, Gary, and when Scotty West gets onto it, you know that something is going to happen. A couple of quick handballs, a very open forward line because they have got a lot of players behind the footy, and Nathan Brown just making sure it goes over the line. Might have got a piece of that one, did he, Bart?
I don't think he did, but he definitely tried.
He did his utmost. But we'll put this one down to Scotty West.
Perfect start for the Western Bulldogs. And they're out by 10 points. Back in the centre. Darcy this time just goes with the big fist. Begley in some space, got Bassett running hard for him. Uses him now. Round the outer side, fist away from Harrison. Now West goes with the right foot, the line looming, and now it's across.
What it does, that last goal does also indicate is the space behind a forward is still dangerous as well. It's something that hasn't been used too often. On a big ground like this, you can run and kick over the head of a forward, and you saw that Nathan Brown led in the race back. So it is just another string to a forward's bow.
Punch down. Almost a push in the back there to Clark. No free. John Cock with nice clean hands. Goes with a high one. Perry locked up out there with McGuinness. On the ground, Perry will win it again. The look-away handball, not really effective. He'll have his third crack at it here, Ian Perry. Picks it up, spins around a couple. The right foot kick inside the 50. The Western Bulldog player back there in best position was Robbins, and his handball forward to McMahon was good.
McMahon looks to run, gives the handball off to a very fluent running Murphy into the middle of the man that really created havoc on the back line the first half. Smith, long ball forward. Brown was waiting at the back. Hart went and got it. Over the top, Harris appealing for the free kick. Handball out in the John Cock direction is good. John Cock got time, spots up the target beautifully and finds Begley. Now he can run a little. He draws McMahon towards him. Solid bump. Made him get rid of the ball. It was a good decision by McMahon. Ball in dispute. Stenglein got onto the end of it. Kicking towards the Edwards direction. Robbins had him under the ball. Prosciutto follows up. Off to Edwards on his not preferred left side. Edwards, can he respond? No. Just the minor score there for Edwards on that occasion.
Well, it was an opportunity that went begging, but I think the other thing that Bulldog goal did, Gary, was just confirm in the minds of the Bulldogs players that they are capable of winning this match. And we saw the last time they took the ball out of the defensive area, a line of pretty talented young running players taking it away. And here's another indication. Pretty easy takeaway from fullback.
Gian Siracusa has a look and finds Hahn in the centre. Steps around Stenglein. High ball inside the attacking 50. Matner did really well. Left his opponent, took a contested mark. Well, in the end, it was almost uncontested.
There was only one contested mark taken in the second quarter, so it just tells you that once you win possession, depending on how well you use it, you're going to get that footy at the other end of the ground. So there are opportunities for both sides, just who's going to take them.
Crowell runs hard to get it back, and then the looping handball forward to Goodwin. McGregor, who's worked hard, little left foot, one from him, finds Begley, 60 out from goal.
And this is the next kick is the most important, because if they can mark it, they've got a set shot at goal.
Prosciutto comes flying at it on the ground. Laddams picks it up around the body to the top of the square. Laddams has kicked a fantastic goal.
We need to grow. I'm just not sure how to go about it.
All right, well, let's have a look at the options.
When it comes to business thinking, chartered accountants have the superior training and business experience to guide your business in the right direction.
How big do you want this to be?
How big?
Yeah.
Laddams was brilliant in his attempt on goal, then converting his first goal of the game, and the Crows back within 3 points. Celebrating on the boundary line there as Laddams. Was a beautiful goal.
Bounce.
Back in the middle. Darcy stretched. Goodwin. Pirouette out of trouble was nice. Stenglein running forward. Handball a little iffy. Gian Siracusa, I thought he threw it. Smith involved again. McMahon all combining. Bowden on the lead. Johnson. Off ground, John Cock. Edwards went and got it. Handball out was good. Clark. John Cock all combining. And the ultimate result is Doughty on centre wing.
Bangs a handball to Begley, who has not been the worst for the Adelaide Crows. Inside the 50 with his ball. Prosciutto comes. Good courage, McGuinness. Really held his ground and must have known the full forward was coming at him. Long handball from him now to Smith. Smith further afield with a good one to Dimatina. They've got the numbers here, the Western Bulldogs. Johnson, the ball's at half forward, brings it around the body. Nathan Brown, one out. They fly behind him. On the ground, having to work hard, Matner. He's got his legs held. Goodwin, handball to Clark. He'll be looking to give it off and does. And the end result will be Begley getting another possession on the members' side.
Been solid, Begley.
Yeah, he has. The only thing about this for the Western Bulldogs, it is a high-energy way to play footy, to keep hitting targets and keep running into space. The query and question mark at the moment is, can they keep that up? You suspect Adelaide have got other avenues to go, but the Dogs do need to keep chipping it around, and this kid's going all right in the back half.
McGuinness spent a lot of time on the bench in the first half and has been good early in this third quarter. Smith, what a super game. Couple of bounces. Johnson will be pressured by McLeod. Brilliant tackle. Got rid of it just in the nick of time. Croft for support. Now Johnson will get a second attempt to make amends here. Go wide to Dimatina. And perhaps one more wide, but then they want to bring it inboard. Dimatina happy to come now. Mitch Hahn there. Plays on with the acceptance of the mark. Takes a bounce, can go inside to Garlick. Garlick can finish. Kick on the way. Bulldogs. Garlick has got the goal. He's first of the game.
Then get into Radio Rentals for their big wash sale and 3 big bonuses. Rent or buy any washing machine and get a bonus 3 months worth of Omo, plus a bonus set of towels, plus a minimum $100 trade-in on any working washer. Plus, you can buy now and pay no interest until 2006. But hurry, Radio Rentals' big wash sale can't last. Radio Rentals is South Australia's biggest electrical retailer. Now that's big!
Those Western Bulldogs will not go away. Wonderful finishing goal there from Simon Garlick. Back in the centre. Clark, first hands on as he has done all day. Goodwin corralled in a tackle. And we'll have a bounce. Michael Roberts.
I told you it was cold, dark and gloomy down on the boundary line. They put the lights on for some warmth.
Yeah, Robbo. Back in the solarium.
I think you can concur with cold, Gary.
Yes.
Dark and gloomy, I don't know whether I'd agree with. Around the body goes Simon Goodwin. High inside the 50. Perry stands his ground. Rashudo trying to get himself involved in this game in the forward line. Ian Perry claiming a holding the ball decision that was never going to come his way. We'll have a bounce.
It's one of these famous backs-to-the-wall victories that the Western Bulldogs need more now than ever before, Jared. It's just a display of the doggy spirit.
Yep. Rashudo could spoil the party. He rips it. And goals. That is the one the Crows needed to get firing. And Rashudo, the man to deliver. 3-point advantage, Bulldogs.
And this just reminds everybody of how difficult it is to win here, because we're witnessing a side that has got great talent. They've got a number of players injured and it's upset their structure a bit, but they will hit back the likes of Rashudo and McLeod and Goodwin and Hart. They've got so many star players that if the Bulldogs were to win this one, they're going to have to fight it out, not right into the end of this quarter, but to the final bell as well.
Looked like another set play there, a lot of space, goal side, Rashudo charging through. They just really need that land position defensive side to meet the midfield runners.
So out by 3 points still, the Western Bulldogs. Clark continues his centre square dominance. He's doing it all himself on this occasion. Bangs the handball wide. Tyson Edwards picks it up. Nice forward handball. He'll get it back here, Tyson Edwards. Good, long, hard running. Left foots it inside the 50. Bigland's caught behind Croft. Got in his back. Had to have got in his back. Advantage paid. And this is where the Western Bulldogs have been very good. Lots of options through the centre. One of them's Mitchell Hahn. Picks it up. Now he's got to think of disposing of the ball. Does so. Bangs it long. 2-on-2 back there, brought to the front. John Cock unable to pick it up. Nathan Bassett goes curiously with the boot. Now we've got a stacks-on situation. Comes back to Harris, brings it around the body and kicks a goal.
Some people see me as debonair, a bon vivant, a sophisticated man about town. But there's another player who fits that category. Crazy John. Like me, he's been around a while and has plenty of experience where mobile phones are concerned. You get the best deal with Crazy John's. He's Australia's best mobile phone retailer. I'm with Crazy. So if you need a mobile, remember, Crazy John's for mobile phones. Call 13 22 99.
Crazy Johns, we love you, mate.
9-point advantage for the Western Bulldogs. Peter Rode and Chris Bond there in charge of this Bulldogs lineup today. Clark, Gilby. Hahn has been instrumental in this third quarter as well. Gilby came on just a few minutes ago for the injured Burst, who has a calf problem. As Dimatina kicks forward, looking for Garlick. Underneath the ball there is Matner. He did well under enormous pressure to go to the safety of the boundary line.
And on the boundary line, Robbo, an interchange.
Yeah, Biglands is just coming off, sprinting off, and bowed on for Adelaide.
Changes the mix a bit. McGregor going back to the goal square, so Croft has still got his tool. They're just looking for a bit more crumb to try and keep that footy in there a bit longer. A bit of defensive pressure, I think, for the Adelaide forwards.
Edwards takes it away from defence, works it out wide to Perry. McGuinness got the job there. Probably lacks an inch or two in height, but
Begley's a good runner.
Perry kicks, looking for Begley. He's been very impressive. Ginny's second game for the year. Kick forward, Croft. A bit of a hope. It was good. It cleared. Harrison really has to work hard now against that man, Begley. McLeod was there. Perhaps didn't have it. Umpire said no. Get on with it. Croft. Rashudo attacks the ball. Needs clean hands. Not there. Smith takes the ball off him. Murphy right on the boundary line. Bode puts it to the front of the square and across the face. Boundary throw in.
Just on Begley, when Tim Watson was coaching the Saints, he continually sung his praises and said he was going to be a player. And whilst it didn't happen for the Saints, it certainly could well happen here for the Crows.
Stoppage situation here for the Adelaide Crows inside their forward 50. Going to have another crack at it, the secondary bounce.
We saw that rebound out of their defensive 50. 32 to the Western Bulldogs, 20 to Adelaide. And much of that has been Rowan Smith. And really, they need to put a bit of defensive pressure on him. He set them up time and again.
Dogs have tightened up on McLeod too. Hasn't touched it this quarter. Smith. Handball forward to Gilby. We'll get it back now, Smith. McMahon. Gilby then linked through half-back. Tucks it under the arm. Has a bounce. Inboard to Boyd. Further afield now to Mitchell Hahn. Hahn streaming towards centre-half forward. Bit off more than he could chew. Now they've got a problem, the Dogs. Adelaide Crows fans screaming for a holding the ball decision. In the end, a bounce, a good result.
And I think you've spotted something, Gary, because Jason Tawney, a known half-back or tagging player, has gone on to Rowan Smith. And he certainly won't be too interested in kicking goals. He's more likely to just block down on him.
Tawney's been good for Adelaide this year. Just the one disposal for this game, though. And Robbins has gone on to McLeod, and McLeod hasn't had a touch in this quarter. Bode marks at half forward. Has got a player running on the far side. He didn't see him, so he brings it this side and finds Tawney. Too far out to score, you would suspect, from there. Tawney will wait for the lead. There's a very good one by Rashudo. He was disappointed that he wasn't given the ball because he probably had Murphy beaten on the lead.
I reckon Robbins was almost covering pretty well, which is brave to leave the man McLeod, but...
Well, if Jason Tawney waits any longer, every Bulldog player will get down there.
Tawney drives it to the top of the square, and Darcy in the end marks confidently in the last line of defence. Darcy will go wide and find his man in Garlick, who seems to have a bit of a licence to run between half-back and half-forward. Doing it pretty well here today. The goal in this quarter. 3 goals to the Bulldogs in this quarter. There's 2 for the Crows, and at the moment it's the Bulldogs by 9 points.
Rowan Smith has gone to Bode, which frees up this man McGuinness, so that's the reason he was on his own on that occasion. He just took Tawney over to Bode and had a 2-on-1.
McGuinness, risky kick into the middle. Johnson was one amongst 4 Crows, and they eventually get possession of the ball. Matner gives it on there. Begley lines up the goals and misses really badly. Kicks it out of bounds on the full. And a free kick will go to McGuinness in the back pocket.
Adelaide Crows fans, even though they're trailing, have been comfortable in their seats for most of the afternoon, I reckon. But just at the moment, they'd be starting to get a little nervous. Not making any real ground on this tenacious Bulldog side. Murphy just unable to take the mark. A costly turnover, Rashudo. Around the body, having a flying crack at it from a long way out on a tough angle. Hits the post. He had McLeod open. Decided to go himself, the skipper.
I would have flipped it over to Andrew McLeod.
And that's the beauty of McLeod, his reaction to...
Yeah, it is a good lesson, isn't it?
What should have been a handball to him was just a turn around. He respected the captain's decision. It wasn't the right one, but he didn't make a song and dance over it. He just got on with the next ball.
Smith kicks to himself and then feeds a nice handball across. Western Bulldogs linking nicely. This is Jordan McMahon. Smith will get it back and pump it long to half forward. Contested ball situation. Matner slapped it back, but only as far as Bowden, running into an open goal, and has got it.
Some crop service continued overnight.
Holden Ute. A force of nature.
14-point advantage for the Bulldogs all of a sudden. It's not the biggest margin of the game, but it's within 4 points of being the biggest.
Rowan Smith almost taken over as the most influential player on the ground from Andrew McLeod.
9 minutes in the quarter remaining. The Bulldogs have got a run going. They've kicked the last two. McMahon had trouble. Hahn, no vision. Dimatina drives his body through and gains 5 metres rugby style. And the Bulldogs will be happy with that. A ball up at centre half.
And Mark Rasciuto has bitten the bullet. He's gone into the middle of the ground.
McLeod back onto the ball.
Ian Syracuse and Power, both midfielders waiting to come back on. Clark off the ball towards centre half forward. Harrison works his man nicely. McLeod was in the right spot, but West got the ball. Boyd had to get rid of it under pressure. Robbins, which way do I go? He elects the handball to half-back to the runner in McGuinness. Bow chases. Short ball, Hahn. He's had a lot of it in this quarter.
Well, they all know if they present, Brian, they're a chance to get the footy, and that's this footy club are up and about at the moment.
Johnson on the Brown. Brown will kick a goal. His third goal. What about the leap of Harris?
Is that you, Brian, that jumped up with a Harris? That is a Jerry G. That was a fair jump and a fair yell. And Nathan Brown kicks an opportunistic goal. I've used that word twice. He needs to do more, mate, Nathan Brown. He needs to do more.
Beg your pardon, I can't hear.
Sorry.
Just having a eardrum blown out by Brian.
It's almost a free kick.
Well,
his pants pulled down too halfway
reason
up.
to get excited. If he marked that, it's the mark of the year.
Well, it's a great result, and again, it just opens a gap. But Nathan Brown here, have a look at that. Have a look at that, Brian.
He's been dacked. And I'll tell you what an exciting game, because we know the Crows are going to come again in the final quarter.
They will come.
But the Western Bulldogs now have built a significant lead that all of a sudden they're going to go in at three-quarter time favourites.
Obviously not a fan of the Bathers, Harris. As we get a secondary bounce.
All it says now, though, to the rest of Bassett, he's going to fly with Harris at every opportunity. It might even mean that Hart comes off Brown to try and spoil and just create a crumbing opportunity.
They're working very hard at this game, the Western Bulldogs. They've only won one for the season, so you can understand why. Picked up by Power, steps around a couple, left foot. Inside the forward 50, the fist away from Matner. Bassett tries to go off the ground, just kicked it into the feet of a couple of Bulldogs. Johnson just hacks it out of there. It's bouncing close to going through. In the end, the desperate defence from the Adelaide Crows concede a point. It's 21 points the margin, deep into the third term in front of a stunned audience at Amy Stadium. Nathan Bassett straight down the ground. A lot of Bulldogs in the mix here. Gian Syracuse takes a very good mark. They have got the momentum here, no question. Ordinary kick from Gian Syracuse, picked up by Garlick. Got the handball away to Hahn. Steps around one. Kick on goal from Hahn's astray. In fact, it's well and truly astray and out of bounds on the full.
Jared, what was the betting before this game? Not that you were a betting man.
No, but I do believe it was $5.75, the Western Bulldogs, which is as far out as any two-horse race is going to be, and $1.10, the Adelaide Crows. But right now, I think they're only a quarter away from this game being recognised as one where they come of age. There's likes of Power and Jim Syracuse. Who else out there? McMahon and Gilby, McGuinness, Gilby, Hahn, Harris. All young names that we're going to see a lot more of.
This man here, though, has been simply brilliant in this quarter, hasn't he, Mitch Hahn?
Yes, he's just not the most polished performer, Brian. We've said that before, but we know he just gives 110%. And
seventh possession for the quarter. Hahn, long ball forward to the square. They fly off hands. Johnson. Johncock covers it. And the rush behind will do.
You know, there's still a long way, Brian, from claiming the 4 points. I mean, it's going to be an incredibly tough victory if they're going to work one here today, but they've set it up.
Beckley marks in the back pocket. There's the time remaining, and the lead 22 points in favour of the Bulldogs. Big surprise here. Massey marks.
We've got to get something from the likes of Perry across half forward, give them an avenue on the way through, try and get some quicker movement of the footy.
Burst waits to come on. West sets himself here. Hahn in front of game.
Yeah, he's been great. And you've got to take your hat off to Robbins, who's had McLeod for much of this quarter, along with Gian Syracuse, yet to touch it. McLeod.
Driving kick from centre wing. Johnson the target. Good lead. Strong mark, Johnson. It was. Very impressive indeed. Looking to get Brown loose around the outside. Could have given.
Well worked out, Adelaide. Well worked out.
John Cock dropped off and Stenglein plugged the hole. As Johnson will kick from beyond 50. He'll wait for something to transpire. There's the Harris lead. He'll go in that direction. Needs a jump at it. Went the spoil. Discipline thing. Brought the ball to the ground. Adelaide's
in trouble.
Defence. Swarms. West. Burst. Just on the ground. Straightens. High. Wedge-like shot. Missed. Minor score. 13-8. 86 the Dogs to Adelaide 9-9-63.
44,342 people here at AAMI Stadium, and the large majority have been stunned and silenced at this point in time.
Ben Hart, the experienced one. Handball over the top to Mark Rasciuto, equally as experienced. To one of the youngsters, Rhett Biglands, over the top to the run of Dowdy. They need to start getting something going through half forward, the Adelaide Crows. They've really broken down. Bassett edged under it. Bickley, handball on the up to Tyson Edwards. Now to Nathan Bassett, who looks like he's working forward. His kick, a questionable one, both in quality and direction. Over the line, boundary throwing.
McGregor in the goal square, top of the square every time from that position. Nathan Bassett, he's not good enough or skillful enough to set something else up. Hit the goal square.
That's the Klinger count, 4-1. On the deck, inside the 50, coughed up. Can Tyson Edwards make him pay? Left foot shot on goal, misses. They were inaccurate last week in Brisbane, Jared, and they're doing it again here, the Adelaide Crows.
Well, it's costly a couple of misses. That one wasn't an easy shot, of course, but what it does do is give the Western Bulldogs back possession, and they've shown for most of the day that if they get it in defence, they'll run it to the other end of the ground, perhaps except that time.
Ordinary kick. Goodwin swoops, wheels around, pumps it back from where it came. Smith got to work hard. Rasciuto over the top. Almost pay that. He thought it should have been paid. Croft on ground, had to get rid of it. Burst, put his head over the ball and won the hard one. Brown, advantage paid as power.
Downfield.
Good buck by Stenglein. Brown remonstrates behind play. Is it down ground?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
For sure.
So free kick. Johnson as Bruton warms up to come on.
Good time for him to come on, the big fella.
Darcy's just run 50 metres by himself. Bigland saw the run.
Darcy had Garlick on the lead, ignored. Gin Siracusa, got to beat a few now. Darcy says, OK, let's just get it down there and be happy with that. Harris was nudged under the ball. Did well. Hart marked in the back pocket. Darcy off, Bruton on.
Over the top goes Ben Hart. Edwards working his way back into the game. Got a few options. Bigland's in the centre, one of them. Kick's not going to get to him. Garlick came across with a fist. Everything working now for the Western Bulldogs. Handball inboard to McGuinness. Steps around. Laconic left foot delivery. Ben Hart coming across, just unable to get a touch on it. Ball on the ground. West picks it up. Left foot shot inaccurate. They are bombing away at the northern goal face here at AAMI Stadium. The Dogs 3 minutes out and they're leading comfortably.
Darcy, good time to take him off. He's going to have to play a massive role in this last quarter. It wouldn't be bad to get Brown off either, I don't reckon, just this last couple of minutes. Get him set for the last quarter.
They've got Hahn off as well.
They've got Hahn off, so they are setting themselves up. Adelaide, they've got a mighty job ahead of them, the Crows.
John Cock.
I need one goal before three-quarter time.
Biglands, Bickley, tidying up with along with Edwards. Long handball. And his man in Goodwin over the top to Biglands. Controls the ball well for a big fella. Then takes West on, turns him inside out. Stenglein now moving through half forward. The delivery forward important. Did Murphy infringe? Umpire said no. McLeod came back. Kick along the ground is good. Burst had a little bit of trouble with the calf. You can see it bandaged as Smith knocks up, getting it off half-back. Brown has just given them a little bit of poise through the midfield in the latter stages of this third quarter. Johnson short. 23-point advantage, the Dogs. Closing moments, third quarter. Marked by Gian Siracusa. Goes back, long ball. Bowden will mark this, I think. No, he won't. Gilby went up. Stripped. Proud. Runs in defence.
The handball finds Goodwin. Not long now for the Adelaide Crows if they want to just get something back before three-quarter time. The Dogs have been magnificent. Bickley, the handball. Look out. Dowdy gets it back to Mark Bickley. AFL logo inside the 50. Rasciuto on a lead. Almost enough on it. McLeod, who's been very quiet in this term, can get on the end of this. The bouncing ball. Now he picks it up and he's banged from behind. Andrew McLeod will have a bounce. 55 out.
Gee, they work well. They have worked well, the Dogs. on Andrew McLeod this quarter. He may have run himself into the ground. He had such a huge first half, but they'd closed down on him.
Give Robbins some credit, I think, in that closure, Gary. Jim Syracuse on top. He has not left McLeod's side, and you guys said time and time again you must play in a defensive manner on this very attacking player.
Well, he's done that, and well, we had Biglands. We just saw what sort of leap he's got. That was the tap out of the year.
Biglands there, wins it down. Goodwin really desperate to win the ball.
The other bloke who's been good is Robert Murphy down on Rashudo. Probably 3 or 4 times this quarter they've had a break through the middle of the ground, Adelaide, and Rashudo's been on the lead, and he's just done enough to be able to get the ball to ground.
Just under a minute to go. If the Bulldogs were to goal here, it would spell a lot of trouble for Adelaide as Biglands set sail for home in a reckless fashion, and a free kick will go to the Bulldogs. So they've got under 45 seconds or thereabouts to take it from one end to the other. Croft. They will be pretty aware of the clock. I think the message would be out there.
Ron Smith's had 10 disposals this quarter. He's had 25 for the match. Simon Goodwin and Mark Rashudo have both had 9 disposals in this quarter, and yet their scoring power has been almost non-existent, the Crows.
They switched play, but they had nowhere to go on the far side, so they're forced to bring the ball back to where it all started in Sam Power marks. So
they've been good like this, though, Brian, under pressure. They've hit targets more often than not. They've made a few mistakes every now and then, but as the game's worn on, they've become more assured and confident.
Jose's just run out and said there's only less than a minute to go. Hold it up.
Controlled and patient. Bruton.
That's a
almost mark.
Yeah,
should have been paid. No doubt about that. Crown involved. Perry, siren sounds, and can you believe it? Here at Football Park in Adelaide, it is the Western Bulldogs leading at 3/4 time. They kicked the last 3 goals of that third quarter to be 23 points in advance of the Adelaide Crows. Sensational effort from the Western Bulldogs. They have been brilliant. Smith off halfback has been great. Brown got involved in the ball, and McLeod was very, very quiet. We are in for a cracking last quarter of football here. No doubt about that. 23 points down, the Adelaide Crows. Can they get up and win in the last quarter?
Who's the Aussie Golden Girl we're going to blitz?
She's certainly a living legend.
Our greatest ever Olympic athlete.
Just to see her was absolutely fantastic.
She's just an inspiration.
The Backyard Blitz Gold Medal Special Series Final tonight on 9.
Do you own a car? Hope you get a service regularly.
Because if you don't... Anyway, don't worry. Profix this week can service and tune your car. Don't pay $150, only $109.
Book your $109 service and tune at Profix this week.
Before you buy spectacles from anyone, come into the Optical Superstore and check our prices. Our spectacle frame prices on our huge range are about half the price you'd expect to pay elsewhere. You're welcome to compare prices with the Optical Superstore. Also, in most cases, Medibank Private Extras members receive spectacles with no out-of-pocket expenses. Come in and compare prices at the Optical Superstore. The Optical Superstore, located in Westfield Tea Tree Plaza, Maya Marion, and the Maya Centre City.
Oh, my.
Get them fixed with a minimum of fuss. Call My Glazier for a prompt repair and ask them for assistance with your insurance claim.
Which glazier?
Oh, my.
The new Saab 9.3 Aero.
Kerry's incredible value offer. Get more now at Kerry O'Brien Fitness Centre at Payneham. What an offer! You get more than just membership for 12 months. You get the next 12 months free. And there's more, with an easy payment plan as low as $16 a fortnight. And your membership includes cardio lounge, group cycling, 3 gyms, pool, sauna, spas, aerobics, aqua aerobics, personal gym programs, circuit, Thai boxing and childminding. So hurry, get more now.
The Mars 1 in 6 competition. You've got one chance in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of winning.
If you don't tell anyone, how would they know? Goodwill makes fashion sense.
G'day, Keith Conlon. No postcards this afternoon because of the footy, but plenty to come. A 1-hour special edition on Tuesday night at 7:30. I'll take you into the Flinders, including the awe-inspiring Arkaroola and beyond to the Oodnadatta track. See you Tuesday night.
This AFL coverage proudly brought to you by Holden Commodore, Sky City Adelaide and Chartered Accountants.
Adelaide Crows, this has been a massive performance from the Dogs. Can they hang on? We will find out shortly. Don't go away. Before we do, let's check up on the highlights of the last quarter. Geelong versus the Hawks at the Telstra Dome.
Leckers comes off, Mitchell back on. Graham's got a loose man in Corey. Oh, they might be talking about percentage Geelong. Corey unloads one, and it goes all the way! And they're dancing in the stands now, the Cat fans. The Hawk fans know that, well, the questions haven't been answered. There's going to be more questions.
34 points is the final margin. The Hawks have been beaten again. They might just have the heat taken off them today by the Western Bulldogs. Who knows? They're upset in the making. Let's go down to Michael Roberts on the boundary.
Well, Gary, I'm surprised you didn't hear Gary Ayres' huddle speech. It is the best eyeballing and best spray I've ever heard at a three-quarter time huddle. And Peter Rhodes said, well, the Bulldogs cost themselves about 2 or 3 goals with the way they played that last 5 minutes, watching this attacking football.
Can the Crows absorb this amazing amount of pressure from the Dogs and get home at Amy Stadium, or can the Dogs win their first in 8 rounds? West, the handball off to McMahon. The centre clearance inside the 50. Almost a grab there to Johnson. On the deck at the back, Harris gets a boot in there. It's across the line and a boundary throw-in.
Well, you expect the Western Bulldogs a long time, 7 weeks since their last victory in the season opener. I mean, it is all on the line here. And it's going to be tough for the Adelaide Crows to get across them from here, Jared.
I agree with you, Gary. An interesting matchup is Tyson Edwards gone on to Brad Johnson. So he's going to have an aerial advantage there, Brad Johnson. But the way they're playing, marking hasn't been a big factor. Mark Rasciuto has been in a key position for most of the day, hasn't taken a mark. And yet there's been umpteen number of players take lots and lots of chest marks around the ground, but it's a ground game.
Beautiful roving there by Bowden, around the body to the hot spot. Dangerous ball here for Adelaide. On the ground, Matner needs to be clean. Came to Doughty. His handball missed its target, but Ben Hart will be composed. Doubles back. Oh, now he sets himself a real task. The boundary line looming, Stengline slides in and takes a mark.
Got it just in the nick of time.
I think they've got to score, Brian, inside the first couple of minutes, the Adelaide Crows.
So Adelaide, Begley, 13 marks for the game. Begley kicks the high ball off hands Power, floats to the back and then sums up his forward options. Kick was ordinary. Straight down the throat of Doughty at centre half back for the Crows. They need to move the ball fluently and quickly, the Crows. They are 23 points down. Off hands, Massey. Hart. Centre wing, look for the driving ball to Rashudo. Got back Robbins, but Rashudo did really well. Had to beat two, and is capable of kicking the journey from here without doubt.
Well, I think he's their best leading option up forward, but too often he's been frustrated because players haven't kicked it to him quickly enough. And I think also he's been crowded by his own teammates.
Does he and the likes of McLeod, when they're one out down there, get enough space?
I would think they prefer to be just down in the goal square with plenty of room up the ground to work their magic. But I do notice Graham Johncock has gone forward to add a little bit of goal-kicking power.
In good hands too, given that statistic right there.
That is the first mark of the game from Mark Rashudo. He has kicked one goal. Kick on the way is there. Adelaide are coming.
They make me feel better sometimes because I look at my book of barcodes and sometimes when I'm feeling like adrift in the world and I don't really know my place or something's going wrong, I can look at the barcodes and I can think there's something that knows certainly what it's meant to do. It has one task and it gets that information across. It's really beautiful in a way. They're quite the most delightful things. They give me great comfort, I suppose, with their single mission in life.
The Crows have narrowed it to 17 points. They'll be desperate not to drop their second game in a row at Amy Stadium after the heartbreaker against Collingwood a fortnight ago. McMahon's been brilliant. Handball out to Gilby, who's also been good. This is Robbins. Closed down McLeod in the third term. Has a bounce. Entry inside the 50 now. Brown on a lead. Thumped away from Hart. Very good. Now they've got a couple of players to work this nicely. Tyson Edwards, left foot kick, a little questionable, but on the bounce it'll find Johncock. Inboard now to Bickley. Bickley on the wing. Pumps it long inside the 50. A couple of marking options here for Adelaide. Perry on the ground, can't control it. Rowan Smith in the end did very nicely. Got the handball away. They need to still stay nice and composed back here. The Western Bulldogs, they do. And Robbins drives it out of the defensive 50.
Bit of a mongrel kick there. This could be the Crows' forward thrust again. They fight for it in the middle. Massey. Here comes the smooth one, McLeod. Couldn't gain possession. McLeod's Jordan McMahon has also done well in this quarter. Mitch Hart head over the ball. Says, I'll get this one out. Umpire's got him.
Well, the worry is that all of the running and the possession footy they've played is going to tire the Western Bulldogs out. And if they get a bit of run on here, the crowd behind them, that would be the concern for Peter Rowe.
Dowdy, half forward. Here come the leads. Bassett's one of those. McGuinness in front marks. What a game, what an atmosphere. The crowd, they can feel Adelaide just building a little bit. They're within 17 points. Kick in the middle, hard. Needed clean hands, not there. Clark. Ball out, Begley. And it's spent, got himself a free. McMahon in the back.
I think what they've just got to do, Gary, is they're young, and it's difficult to put an old head on the proverbial young shoulders, but they've got to stay a little bit more composed, a bit cool.
Begley driving ball, Rashudo the danger here. Murphy had him corralled. He tried the don't argue. Murphy was equal to that. Ball now to Perry. He tries to spin out of the McGuinness tackle to Murphy. They're under enormous pressure here, the Bulldogs. They can't afford to make mistakes like that. Stenglein had trapped that. He would have been home. Instead, Gilby's away for the Bulldogs.
Left foots it very neatly too to Johnson at half-back. He's got Sam Power running hard.
Just got to hold, JB. Now the composure Jared spoke about, they are tired, they're making a few mistakes. You just got to, that's a percentage play.
Pumps it long, looking for, but not finding Darcy. He's now got two to beat. Just threw it over the line. A boundary throw in. Adelaide Crows fan out there making light work of the advertising hoardings. Maybe this is why. Let's have a look. Well, it wasn't overly scientific, but the umpire was behind him, so it didn't matter. Beautiful work from Clark Goodwin now inside 50. Rashudo coming. Can he pick it up? Perry it is. He has it stripped away from him. Ball on the ground. They come banging in. McGuinness is one of them. He's helped into the ground. A little head massage from Johncock. And there'll be a bounce 50 out.
They're pressing, Jared. The Adelaide Crows are pressing.
You can
Great
feel it,
test.
can't you?
Yes, you can.
17 points down they are. It's in their forward line. Goodwin, Bickley, the former skipper around the body. Murphy on the line. Just nailed it. Boy, they are applying the screws here at the moment. The Adelaide Crows. Crows on a dog side that have done not much this year in the way of wins.
It's belief, Brian. They still believe they can win the Adelaide Crows, so that is why they'll keep coming at the Western Bulldogs and why they won't get any respite at all.
Rashuda has kicked the only goal of the quarter. Smith has been quite brilliant for the Bulldogs today. West gathers. Time to sum up the options in the middle half. Now he needs to use the ball well. Long ball by Hart. Harris over the top. The punch there in front. Great defensive work by the Adelaide Crows. They bundle it up.
Well, you said he needed to use the ball well. That's exactly what he didn't do, Gary, because he missed Brad Johnson. Johnson's Van Edwards did the right thing and put some pressure on. He was 40 metres clear, Johnson.
Bounce of the ball now. Western Bulldogs with a chance to really make this interesting if they can slot one through. Ben Hart bangs it towards the line. Bickley keeps it in. High one from him to the outer side. Stenglein with West. The numbers with the Western Bulldogs. Another forward 50 entry. Tumbling ball. Tyson Edwards has to go back. Fist on it. Johnson left puts it straight into Harris. Straight into him. And now Matner can, with a nice handball, find Mark Bickley. Defensively out of his own 50. Long ball looking for Perry. It's going to land before him. The boundary line there as well. Across the line. A sigh of relief. Look at Johnson.
Tried to go underground, didn't he?
He did. Brian, what would you think if you pushed Brown, who hasn't had much time on the ball, into the middle, purely and simply to get Ben Hart away from that goal square, because he does just starts a lot of attacking thrust from deep in defence.
Be a good move at the moment, Gerard, I think. Just up across half forward there somewhere, and also give Harris a little bit of room to run. I reckon he's ready to glove something, Brian Harris down there. Ball up. Wing. Out of side here. The Adelaide Crows. Nearing. West, high ball, Bowden, one-hand mark. Excellent. Half forward now. Here's some space. Brown led one way, then back to the pocket. He outdone him on the lead. He plays on. This will be another Nathan Brown goal. He's kicked 4.
When did you last stop and think about your car insurance? Does yours compare with Amy? Don't just renew your current policy. Compare it with Amy's great deals first.
Lucky you're with Amy.
I thought dating again would be tough.
He's cute. Is he younger than me?
Just for men hair colour, the Rejuvenator gets rid of grey hair in 5 easy minutes for a young, natural look.
Would you like to come in?
Just for men.
Wow, the Western Bulldogs, a 22-point lead. Nathan Brown's got 4. And that was what made it happen. A really good Patrick Bowden mark.
Again, JB here, we just were saying to turn Ben Hart around is what they should be trying to do to the Western Bulldogs. That is the only time he's looked to be out of his depth, Ben Hart, with his head back to goal.
They've got 12 minutes here, Adelaide. The Western Bulldogs, the same amount of time to record a famous win. Bickley, a long one inside the 50. Bassett with a big climb.
That is a great mark from Nathan Bassett, who has spent 85% of his career at fullback. He has spent some time on occasions at full forward as well. He's got an ungainly kicking style, but that is a great jump at it and a terrific mark, clean as a whistle.
This is a big, big kick now for Nathan Bassett. He needs to draw a big breath and slot it through if he's clever to win this one. Kick on the way, looks good. Well done.
Then get into Radio Rentals for their Big Wash sale and 3 big bonuses. Rent or buy any washing machine and get a bonus 3 months worth of Omo, plus a bonus set of towels, plus a minimum $100 trade-in on any working washer. Plus, you can buy now and pay no interest until 2006. But hurry, Radio Rentals' Big Wash sale can't last. Radio Rentals is South Australia's biggest electrical retailer. Now that's big!
Bulldogs by 16 points. Only twice today have Adelaide kicked consecutive goals. McLeod, will this be the 3rd time? McLeod with a scintillating run from the middle of the ground. Long ball. Carry. Missed. First touch for the half there for McLeod. Can you believe that? After a ripping first half of footy.
That is amazing. A fair tap out. Look at that. That is as good a ruck work as you're likely to see.
15 points and some sweaty palms. About 44,000 pairs as the kick goes to the outer side. Thumped away by Clark down on the ground west. Handball good. Gian Syracuse stripped off it. Well done, Goodwin. Gian Syracuse did nicely. In comes Begley, who's been great. Around the body from Begley, looking for Bassett. The fist came from Croft, was good. Across the line, boundary throwing.
Well, it was a defensive spoil of the highest quality. Once again, the hand was just on the shoulder, but reasonable that the umpire doesn't pay those sorts of ones.
Clark, and at the back, Hahn. Clark now strips his direct opponent, Darcy, of the ball. Stacks on, the umpire lets it go. Continues to let it go. Now we might see a bounce. What a wonderful exhibition of footy this has been. Adelaide ahead on the disposal count. The Bulldogs ahead where it matters on the scoreboard, 15 points.
Round one was the last win for the Bulldogs. Robbins has done the job on McLeod in the second half. McLeod just one possession. Johnson up in the middle, took a ripper.
Geez, what a play. He's effectively been centre-half forward, Brad Johnson, today.
Johnson plays on through the mid-ground. Harris, Bowden, Brown, they're all there. All the guys capable of kicking goals. Edwards tidies up nicely. McGregor, defensive 50, pressure on this kick. Out wide, looking for Stenglein. Two Dogs close. Boundary line beat all.
It was the kick of the side, Two Dogs, that suggested they were 4 goals up, not 4 goals down. And there, Brad Johnson just showing that he has got a distinct advantage in the air against his opponent.
You have to go back 21 years since the Dogs have lost 8 in a row. They're doing everything in their power to make sure it doesn't happen at 8. The umpire really letting it go, as they have all day.
Put the whistle away, JB. The umpire, don't expect a free kick to be paid or $2 million to be paid between now and the end of the game. There's only been 16 for the afternoon, and you have to have your head ripped off to get one here now, I'd reckon.
That tells the story. Owen Smith, West and Dimatina have been great for the Western Bulldogs. Here comes Gilby. Handball missed its target. Now West and Hahn involved. Well done, Mitchell Hahn. Banging through. Really did well. Ball on the ground. Gilby tries to go off the ground with a soccer. McLeod, can he be clean? Little toe poker. Unable to get it through. Gilby just bangs it down the line towards the boundary line. Tyson Stenglein will do his best to keep it in. Now he just neatly drops one over the top to Bickley. Bickley, the long bomb inside the 50. Perry one out. Brings it to the front and goes and gets it, the natural left footer. Handball back. This is Massey. Bit off more than he can chew. Got it to the skipper. The skipper loads it up. Prosciutto. Going. He's brought the house down.
They make me feel better sometimes because I look at my book of barcodes and sometimes when I'm feeling like adrift in the world and I don't really know my place or something's going wrong, I can look at the barcodes and I can think there's something that knows certainly what it's meant to do. It has one task and it gets that information across. It's really beautiful in a way. They're quite the most delightful things. They give me great comfort, I suppose, with their single mission in life.
Crows are within 9 points. Through that man there, the skipper, Prosciutto, has 3.
What a goal, Brian, at the right time, and Gerard raised a great point. Say it again, Gerard.
Well, the Crows know they can win. It's a question with so many inexperienced players in, do the Bulldogs actually believe from this position, on this ground with a packed house, that they can win this match?
9 points up. Here they go in the middle. Garlick has been put in there. Tackled. Now we've got 9.5 minutes remaining in the game. Plenty of time.
Bit of reshuffling done too. Ben Hart's gone out to half-back onto Bowden. Brown has got Crowell down the goal square. You'd like that from a Bulldog point of view. They just got to get some opportunity.
Power in the ruck. Dropping the ball because he grabbed it from the ruck contest. And if a player holds in that situation, you are done.
These are the decisions, the little costly decisions that the young Dogs might live to rue.
Clark, long ball inside 50. Anyone gets on the end of this, we're having a shot at goal. Kick on the way. Matner, hard at it. Garlick there as well. Happy to hold it up, but I'm not sure the Bulldogs can continue to hold things up. They're going to have to play some footy.
Got to get their most experienced blokes up on the ball at the present time, the Bulldogs. They need to win loose balls.
Adelaide have kicked 3 of the last 4 goals. Make it 4. Goodwin has kicked his 4th goal. What a
perfect word to wash. Then get into Radio Rentals for their big wash sale and 3 big bonuses. Rent or buy any washing machine and get a bonus 3 months worth of Omo, plus a bonus set of towels, plus a minimum $100 trade-in on any working washer. Plus, you can buy now and pay no interest until 2006. But hurry, Radio Rentals' big wash sale can't last. Radio Rentals is South Australia's biggest electrical retailer. Now that's big!
Simon Goodwin's kicked 4. His club, irrepressible in this final term. Watch this go through. It'll bring the house down. Look at it. The fans who have been quiet all afternoon have suddenly found some voice at Amy Stadium. Back in the centre with the bounce. Clark, who's been superb, again gets first touch. Gian Siracusa. And they stack on top. We'll have a bounce.
Kicking goals from both sides hasn't been a massive problem this afternoon, in as much that there's been loose players on both ends of the ground, so they just need to win a bit of 50-50 footy either side. With Johnson inside 50 against Edwards, he is the target for the Dogs.
The ruckman wrestle. The secondary up was McLeod. Now he gets it. Handball, the forward one really didn't connect well. Bickley taken high, should have received a free, didn't.
Now, we've made the point a number of times, but Gian Siracusa has just got to be on McLeod. He's just too dangerous, and that's a stage. It wasn't a free kick, good decision from the umpire, but McLeod is one possession here to McLeod, and it's a goal to the Crows.
Well, he's just so good at finding his way through traffic here, McLeod.
Adelaide within 3 points. Have not led at any of the changes today. Adelaide were 23 points down at the final change here today. Kick forward, Dimatina probably could have marked it. Harrison under enormous pressure. Threw it out. Dimatina. Umpire had a really good look at that. Dimatina along the ground, and that's deliberate, I would have thought, almost. But he gained length in the kick, so he was lucky. Let's have a look. That's a throw.
Oh, and 10 metres out directly in front to put the Crows in front.
Boy, 3-point advantage for the Bulldogs.
I told you, you're going to have to lose your head off your shoulders to get a free kick.
7.5 minutes remaining. Brown's got on ball. McLeod comes in, picks up the ball. Shot on goal to put the Crows in front.
Shut the gate.
They are there.
In Comedy Inc.'s quest for continued success, there's no pain, no gain. Of course, a little bit of nudity helps, and so do toilet jokes.
Use just a hand. Apple juice looks like urine.
Nothing sacred, not even religion.
Jesus, thank you very much for being here.
Well, I'm kind of everywhere, aren't I?
It's another all-new hour of good, clean
Do
fun.
you really have to wash the car with a pair of old underpants?
Comedy Inc., 8:30 Wednesday on 9.
Hasn't the silk risen to the top for the Adelaide Crows? Goals to Rashudo, Goodwin, and now McLeod. They've stared down a 23-point lead and deficit and turned it into a lead.
Too much space, Jared, again from Gian Siracusa.
Well, it's a harsh lesson he's going to learn, but it's a lesson he's going to relive. Johnson into the middle, Brown into the middle.
Kick the last 4, the Adelaide Crows. Can the Dogs find something? They've got a clearance here. Tyson Edwards picks it up. Little one over the top to Massey. 7 and a bit minutes to go. The Dogs are still in it. Massey, long down the line. Matner to fly from the back, good hands. A good mark from Marty Matner.
Good move getting Johnson, hard player, up onto the ball.
Peter Rode, what can he do? They've got them all back now, the Western Bulldogs. Darcy flies, almost takes it. Smith just bangs it out of there. Bickley's got it. High one inside the 50. Coming at it, Tawney! Big run!
Well, that is just unbelievable. They have struggled to find a contested mark inside 50 all day. Now, Jason Tawney is probably lucky to be paid, to be honest. Bassett got hands on it, but just a sensational attempt. He's only really down there because Rowan Smith has been so dominant, and he pulls out something like that.
Hasn't been a massive day for Jason Tawney, but he won't give 2 hoots about that. Just 4 disposals. If he can slot this one, he gives his team a 9-point buffer. The former Tiger, originally from this part of the world. Set shot inside the 50. Jason Tawney got it.
Well, this is going to crush the heart of the Western Bulldogs, you would think, but there's too much talent in this Adelaide Crows side for this not to have happened, really. And Gene Syracuse is a player who's come to the bench. He may be exhausted or his head may still be spinning after seeing Andrew McLeod perform some wizardry out there. And that is a great mark from Jason Tawney and a terrific conversion. And they would just be shell-shocked, the Dogs.
But it's why it's such a great ground to come and watch footy at, because there's so much football atmosphere here that you see players rise and do things that they can't do on other grounds.
5 straight goals for the Adelaide Crows. They're not done with yet, and I don't think the Bulldogs are either. They lead it by 9 points.
Rowan Smith, Bickley, the smartest player probably in the Adelaide lineup, has been instructed to take Smith out of the play. It's time to get him on the ball.
6 minutes remaining. Clark, Edwards doing all the attacking in this last quarter. Adelaide. Here comes Rashudo. They fly. Dimatina went in with a hand. Begley, the extraction process underway, but not complete. 5 minutes and 48 seconds remaining. Peter Rode, Alan Richardson and staff on the phones. There are no free phone lines in that box at the moment.
14-2 the hit-outs this quarter. Big stat.
9-point advantage Adelaide. In there, attacking 50. Free kick Bulldogs. High tackle. And I think it will be Burse. It will. A little lucky, but nevertheless there.
Very lucky, I'd say.
Burse to Murphy. They need to run with some positive process about what they're doing. Johnson will give them that.
He's still got victory in his nostrils, this bloke.
He's all up, isn't he?
They need to just breathe off his enthusiasm.
Garlick in front. Edwards there working really hard. Garlick did well. All over the line, boundary throw in.
There'll be half a dozen Dogs players now, Gary, that think they can't win. If they can just take a lead from Brad Johnson, a couple of others, they can sneak back 1 goal, and then they're just a kick behind.
Jordan McMahon back on the ground, some fresh legs, quick legs. They've got to take some risks. They've got to be prepared to take some risks here, the Dogs.
Garlick gets it to West inside. Well done, Ben Hart.
Good move.
Really did well there. Under a lot of pressure.
And I think that the Crows players, Gary, would be thinking about that Collingwood loss. It was a victory, but it was snatched from them. Similar scenario. They were behind for most of the day. They got in front, and then they just relaxed a little bit. It'd be difficult to see them losing from here with that so fresh in their mind.
Tyson Edwards gets it and gives it back to Ben Hart. Streaming out of half-back. The premiership player. Big climb at the back from Perry. Couldn't claim it. McLeod and now Bode. Bode will just bang it forward. Bouncing ball. Here comes Begley. If it can bounce up for him, he's got some space to move. Kick around the body. Rashudo picks it up. Gets the handball off. Standing start. Bassett really didn't time it at all. Bouncing about 15-20 out from goal. Rue makes power earn it.
Oh, he's been knocked out.
Sets him right down. But the Dogs bring it away. Bounces here to Dimatina. He's had 4 of them on the AFL logo. High one inside the 50. Big climb at the back from Bowden. Couldn't claim the mark on the deck. Garlick's involved. Bowden's involved. Will have a bounce. And Power's up on his feet, which is great to see.
Yes, the Power was out momentarily. Big hit from the Roo. Tucked into the waist, so no problem there.
Couldn't be any more tucked in. G. Garlick has thrown himself on the ball in the last few minutes as well. Clark out of the ruck now. He was pinged in the tackle, but he got rid of it. There's the difference. Goodwin found the open man. In Bassett has come a long way up for his full forward position. Kick on the way to Rashudo. Boy, are they giving him some space now. Murphy got him under the ball ice. But here comes Bickley. Murphy to the boundary line. He turned it around. Boundary throw in. 102 plays 93. 3.5 left. Time running out.
Clark again instrumental in the clearance down here. That was the first time they had into a dangerous position, the Western Bulldogs, but it was Matthew Clark again. Had a huge say in the clearance.
Adelaide. Forward pocket. Johnson. Need to take a risk now, the Dogs. Handball. Harrison, McMahon. Fresh legs and pace. As Gary said, handball over the top to Smith. But I tell you what, Adelaide are playing great one-on-one football form. Look at that. 4th possession for the half.
Yes, sir.
He has single-handedly got the Crows back into this game.
He's like a predator mowing down someone, this bloke. He just closes like you wouldn't believe. And go on, Brian.
First time Smith has been caught today, the most important
The 2 best players on the ground involved in that passage of play.
Out wide now. Adelaide starting to get a little more comfortable. Crowell inside the 50 with a little one. We'll find Massey. Inside the final 3 minutes. If they can convert here, They're home.
They just need a chance to get it inside 50, the Dogs. They haven't been able to, probably for the last 4 minutes or so. They've dominated Adelaide this quarter. They've got such good players in the middle of the ground that we always thought it was going to come, but I'd given up hope. I reckon I thought they were gone, the Crows.
Inside 50s for the quarter, Gary. 17-8 in favour of Adelaide. Chris Massey tied against the line. Kicks it high. Kicks it very high. And it's narrow as well, behind. They're out by 10 points.
Rowan Smith's got to get this and belt it down the middle. Luke Darcy's got to get himself into the middle of the ground.
Well, he played on, but he did it a little bit early.
Yeah, and just got to take a risk, try and belt this over the back, run onto it. This is all or nothing stuff. No good playing safe here.
Players would be aware that there's just the 2 minutes remaining. The kick in stolen Daly.
Now, Rowan Smith has made no mistakes in this game until then.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was his mistake. It was a pretty ordinary kick, but if you have a look, the player stands still, Gary.
He kicked to a 3-on-1, I reckon.
But I guess if there's an opportunity to go long there and take the risk.
He's just got to get it down. He can kick it 65 metres.
Yeah, but no point kicking at 65 to a pack. He's got to maintain possession, and Shane Burr should have run onto the ball.
It was a mongrel floating, wobbling kick.
Nevertheless, the Crows have come from nowhere, and this could finish the game.
To ice the game and make it 6 Adelaide Crows goals in a row. Dowdy from 50. Kick on the way. It's bending back to the goal face. It's there. The double-fisted salute signifies that Adelaide are home.
Well, we've said it so many times, the Crows, Port Power, and in earlier eras, South Australia at this ground, just come from nowhere in seemingly unwinnable positions. There's that mongrel floater that we spoke about. One man stopped, one man kept running. I'll go you 50-50, G, but...
when I look down the middle, Gerald... Anyway, this is a very good side who played pretty ordinary footy for 3.5 quarters. And they just flipped the switch, probably 3 quarters. They have dominated this last quarter.
They need one more goal for their biggest 4th quarter of the year. They might get it. Here comes McLeod out of the centre. Spots up Goodwin at half forward. They have dodged a massive bullet this afternoon, Adelaide. Don't worry about that. McLeod on the wing. Now they're going to maintain possession and run this clock right down. Inside the last minute of the game.
Well, this will be a boring minute, but it has been an incredibly exciting game. It's been, you know, it's been filled with so many great aspects, and I think the Dogs are going to lose, but they can take plenty out of it, as can the Crows, who have come from a seemingly impossible position.
Bode banged into Robbins. What a titanic job he did in the second half on Andrew McLeod. Bode on and off the bench. Matthew Clark, look at that for the match. 38 hit-outs. This time Darcy gets a hand on it. Garlick's been good. McMahon's been good. Wide he goes. They're going to cough it up. The numbers here for Adelaide. Dowdy, you kicked the last one. Doubles around on the logo. Inside the 50, the Ruder fly. It's jump time now for the Adelaide Crows. Mind you, it's taken a long time to get here. Good kick to find Burt. Handball on the up to McMahon. Left foots it to half forward, but McLeod, who kept his club in it in the first half, takes the mark across half back. Sideways he goes to Bickley as they count the clock down at AAMI Stadium. It's a win, but don't worry, the Dogs have done everything possible at AAMI Stadium but take the points. Adelaide win it. The Western Bulldogs wonder where their next win's coming from.
Well, this man, Andrew McLeod, didn't touch the footy in the 3rd quarter. I think I'm right in saying that, boys. Matthew Roberts went on to him. But his first half was as good as you're likely to see. And his last quarter, along with Marcus Shooter, Simon Goodwin, all their experienced guns, wheeled them across the line, carried them across the line. I guess the difference between the two teams is Adelaide probably had 8 of those players, 8 to 10 who are capable of doing that. And the Dogs just at the moment, maybe only 3 or 4. And Rowan Smith was one of them. He had a great game, but this man, Andrew McLeod, it was a pleasure to watch him. He's with Michael Roberts.
Andrew set it up. First half was absolutely sensational. Didn't get many touches in the 3rd, but kicked a goal with in the last quarter. Tremendous win for the boys, though.
Oh yeah, it certainly has been. It's been a tough few weeks. You know, we've been playing well. and things haven't seemed to gone our way. We've heard me kicking well in front of goals, and today it just looked a bit of a slog. We knew it was going to be tough, but yeah, look, boys credit, hung at it, and came over the win.
Gary Ayres gave you one of the best sprays as a group at three-quarter time. Eyeballing the whole lot. He ripped right into you.
Oh, deservedly so. Look, Gary's been, look, he's been pretty lenient over the last few weeks because we've been pretty tough at it. But today, we were a little bit off, and he just sensed that, and he was just trying to inspire us, and they gave us a bit of a spur, and school will tell the story now.
Nervous times, 23 points down. To come home like that, you had to time it perfectly.
Oh, yeah, we did, but yeah, look, it's just one of those things that we knew if we just hung in there and just kept at it, that sooner or later they might crack.
Run the park, well done.
Thanks.
Well done indeed, Andrew McLeod. Well done to the Adelaide Crows, and well done to the Western Bulldogs. Take nothing away from them. The win is all they care about, Nathan Brown and Rowan Smith, but the way they played, they'd have to get some credit, and Peter Wright would be sick of hearing that, I know.
Yep.
But they're up against a good side, and they gave a pretty good account of themselves, Jared.
Well, the last quarter we saw their captain and their past captain come to the fore. I think Mark Bickley would have had to get somewhere near double figures in possessions for that quarter. In fact, he did get to 10. Mark Rasciuto kicked 2 vital goals. Matthew Clark continued his dominance, and of course we've spoken in glowing terms about Andrew McLeod and Ben Hart, just steady as a rock across that full back line. But they all had to lift. They knew it was a vital time for them. They would have been in the black if they had in the red if they had lost this one, and gone to 5 losses and 4 wins, which for a side that won the Wizard Cup, Gary, and started the season so well, would have represented a pretty poor month. 23
points down at three-quarter time were Adelaide. They had a 39-point turnaround, 7-goal-to-1 last quarter. 16 points was the margin. The Crows over the Dogs.
Brings it to the front and goes and gets it, the natural left footer. Handball back. This is Massey. Bit off more than he can chew. Got it to the skipper. The skipper loads it up. Rasciuto. Going. He's brought the house down.
On the Bulldogs, they need to win loose ball.
Adelaide have kicked 3 of the last 4 goals. Make it 4. 1.5 minutes remaining. Brown's got on ball. McLeod comes in, picks up the ball. Shot on goal to put the Crows in front.
Shut the gate.
They are there.
Coming up on the news, Dr. Peter Hollingworth has resigned as Governor-General. In a statement, he says the controversy surrounding him has diminished his capacity to hold the position. Also tonight, there's been a second arrest over the discovery of a woman's body in the Port River last week. A 61-year-old man has been charged with impeding the investigation. And more than 150 people were treated during a mock bio-terrorist attack in the city this morning, designed to test our emergency services. And Sir Paul McCartney has packed Red Square for his first ever concert in Moscow. See you soon.
South Australia is committed to excellence in training.
The award I won was Apprentice of the Year for the South Australian Training Awards. Of course, I want to advance, and by that I'm going to have to do more training.
The training and development and the educational programs are part of the way in which we run our business. And so to publicly win the award was an affirmation that we are doing at least some things right.
If you're a final year vocational education and training student or an enterprise and you're serious about training, get a nomination form now.
Woolworths, the fresh food people, have all the ingredients for the sweet tooth in your family. This chocolate swirl cheesecake will really hit the spot. Process a packet of Arnott's Nice biscuits and add some melted butter and mix them together. Press it into a greased springform pan. For the filling, beat together 2 packets of cream cheese and half a cup of caster sugar, scraping down the sides so it mixes properly. Add 4 eggs, 1 at a time, and a cup of thickened cream and pour it over the biscuit base. Melt the Nestlé dark cooking chocolate over a saucepan of simmering water. Drizzle it over the top of the cheesecake and use a skewer to make a pattern. Bake it on the lowest shelf of a 160-degree preheated oven for 50 minutes. Turn it off and leave for 4 hours with the door ajar to prevent cracking. Chill for an hour before serving. You'll find this recipe along with other great ideas in this month's issue of Australian Good Taste magazine. Available with all your fresh ingredients from Woolworths, the fresh food people.
Still the one and number 1 in Adelaide, Channel 9.
mighty Adelaide Crows in the last quarter anyway. They were 23 points behind at three-quarter time, staring down the barrel. They turned it around a 7-goal-to-1 at last quarter. Jared, what did you make of the singing of the mighty Adelaide Crows?
I think the mighty Adelaide Crows just gives the singing of the song always gives an insight into how the players think they performed, and it wasn't sung with a great deal of gusto. It was almost the one that they snatched, I think, Gary, and Simon Goodwin and Mark Rasciuto, along with McLeod. They were the three big guns, three of their biggest names, and they all fired when it counted.
Nathan Brown, of course, had 4 goals for the Western Bulldogs. Well, the coach, Gary Ayres, was pretty agitated and animated at three-quarter time. We were told by Michael Roberts he'd be breathing a little easier now, and he's with that man, Michael Roberts, down in the Adelaide rooms.
Gary, you're smiling. At three-quarter time, you weren't. I was 150 metres away from that huddle, and I reckon the whole town heard it. You ripped right into them, and they all said probably deservedly so.
Oh, look, I think what you've got to say to yourself is that you're looking for a response, and I thought the senior players really did lift in that last quarter, and it's a 40-point turnaround in the space of, 28, 29 minutes. So for that, I'm thankful for, and we've been up for quite some time, and we've probably been close, and played good footy, but we probably didn't play as well today, yet we've still won, and I think sometimes that's a pretty important win in the scheme of things. So, yeah, but again, looking for a response, and we got it.
The Bulldogs, well, they could have won this, couldn't they? They really could have done it. No, 23 points up, and nervous times for the coach's box at Adelaide, wasn't it?
Oh, well, look, you don't like to see that happen, obviously, Mick. And, they had, again, 23 scoring shots to our 29. So I thought we just made some pretty ordinary decisions coming inside our forward 50. And in that last quarter, we just seemed to take some risks. And, of course, they asked them at three-quarter time, and you probably heard it anyway.
You didn't ask them. You told them.
And we said about just generating some run, and I thought we did that, kept the ball alive, and we got our result, which was a pretty vital 4 points.
Gary, Jared upstairs, congratulations on the come-from-behind victory, but one bloke who clearly put in for 4 quarters was Matthew Clark. You must be thrilled with his form this season.
Yeah, I am, Jared, and of course he's come under a bit of stick too, because they say he doesn't take too many marks around the ground, but what he does give us is a real strong presence in the actual stoppages, and we pride ourselves on being pretty good in those areas. And I thought again today, and Luke Darcy's obviously a very, very good player, but I thought he battled really, really hard, and he gave us some real good use, especially in that last quarter.
Is he, Gary Lyon? Well done, congratulations. James Begley, a name that has come over from St Kilda. He also had, no doubt, his best game in Adelaide colours.
Yeah, he did, Gaz, and I think that's important for someone like James, because this is his second opportunity, and the poor kid's just been bloody wrecked by injuries, and he just hasn't been able to get a start with us. So pleasing for him now to put in 2 pretty good games, and they're actually pretty high-pressure games too, to go up to the Gabba and then again today at home. So he shows a real lot for us on the wing.
You've got a couple of your tall forwards out. What's their progress?
Well, Stevens is probably another 1 to 2 weeks away, Jared, and look, I think Wayne should be right next week, and Scotty Welsh got through his first game yesterday, as did Brett Burton, so I think we might be able to get some real strike power back, hopefully in the next 1 to 2 weeks.
And a fair return from a couple of makeshift full forwards, Rasciuto and Goodwin. They both, you'd be well pleased. I think it was 7 or 8 by the end of the day.
Yeah, I was, Gary, and look, we've been under the pump a bit because of personnel, and we've had to probably go a little bit small and try and be a bit unpredictable, and that maybe lends itself to perhaps making erratic decisions when you come inside your forward 50 and you don't have a big tall guy to kick to. But I thought they stuck at it, and again, it's a real good response from the captain and deputy vice captain to kick those goals when it was needed, and I thought McLeod was terrific today too.
Gary, you've been on the end of the influence of the Adelaide crowd, both when you play for Hawthorn and, of course, when you play for Victoria. How much of a factor do you think it is? Can you measure it in goals?
Yeah, look, I think it's probably worth about 3 or 4, Jared, and the supporters that we get here, you see again, I think it was about 45,000 again today, and look, that's just terrific, and they're so passionate, and we really like a full house here every home game, because it does generate a lot of enthusiasm and real feel-good stuff amongst the players, because they know we've got a lot of support.
You mentioned Andrew McLeod, Gary. He set it up for you. He held unit in the first half, didn't he? And to finish off the way he did, sensational. He is a star.
Oh, look, no doubt about that, Mick, and really when he gets the ball, he's probably been a little bit lax on his actual goal scoring, but I thought today his timely goals and that run down to a Smith just late in the last quarter I thought was a real game breaker for us, and we had a bit of momentum and we just kept the heat on them late.
I'll tell you what, there's absolute silence down here because they're stretching down, but I would say that they're probably going to sing the song again, and a few smiles and some celebrations, because this was a come-from-behind win and sensational for you.
Oh, it was, Mick, and you can play it up, mate, and that's pretty good.
Well done, Gary.
Good on you, Ayresy. Gary Ayres, the coach of Adelaide, down in the Adelaide rooms with Michael Roberts. Some votes, Jared, and gee, there's some good players on the ground, I'll tell you. There's one bloke called McLeod who goes all right. Don't know whether you picked that up. Thought he and Rowan Smith were the two best players, and Johnson and Clark were the next two most influential. You could have had Rashudo in there, maybe Goodwin. There were plenty of players that were lining up. So Andrew McLeod, he's a genius, a superstar, and would have some Brownlow votes racked up at this stage, you would have thought. Well, Gary Ayres will sleep pretty well tonight, having rattled home 7 goals to 1 in the last quarter. Not sure whether Peter Schwab will. He went down by 34 points today against the Cats, and this is what he had to say after the game.
I think it would be a weakness of character for me to walk away. So, you know, I think that puts my position pretty clear. So, and I've had great support from Ian and the board. Stephen's here now, so, you know, we just got to stick together and try and work out and get a win.
Well, stick together, try and work it out and get a win, Jared. It sounds pretty simple, but there is no other option. I mean, you cannot implode at this time, and it will be a test of strength and leadership at that footy club.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything to be gained at the moment from putting the knife through Peter Schwab. I think they know the position they're in, and they've got to work through it together, because sacking the coach, I think, right now would just multiply the problem, not solve it.
Let's have a look at the AFL ladder. Round 9 has been completed, and, well, the Brisbane Lions, the West Coast Eagles, put Adelaide Fremantle into the top 4. That is great news for Western Australian footy. Richmond and Collingwood, the only Victorian clubs inside the top 8, but it is tight. I mean, look all the way down to Carlton.
Well, an important win by the Kangaroos because it really just closes that gap. They would have lost touch with the final 8 had they gone down to the Swans, and they had a tremendous victory up in Canberra today to keep themselves well and truly in touch. But outside of the 8, there's still half a dozen sides that can push for a spot in the finals.
Indeed, it is a fascinating competition. The Adelaide Crows getting home today after trailing for the majority of the afternoon. 23 points down at three-quarter time. They rattled home 7 goals to 1 in the last quarter. Jared, thanks for your company. It's been a very enjoyable afternoon. A big round of footy. We'll see you next week. You've been watching Sunday Football.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports. AFL Premiership 2003, proudly brought to you by Carlton, brewed since 1864, and our telecast sponsors, Chartered Accountants, CA, Employ Our Thinking, Primus Telecom, delivering the real value of communication, Sky City Adelaide, the place to see footy on the big screen, Crazy Johns for the best deals in mobile phones, Radio Rentals, South Australia's biggest electrical retailer, and Amy, lucky you're with Amy. This is Adelaide's National 9 News with Georgina McGuinness.
Dr. Peter Hollingworth resigns as Governor-General.